This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 519 for the week of Monday, May 14th, 2018. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Alex.
And on today's show, we have a very special guest, translator for One Piece in Weekly Shonen Jump. We have Stephen Paul. How's it going, Stephen?
Hey, what's up? Going all right.
Cool. We also have from Anime News Network, our anime recap host, Sam Leach. How's it going, Sam?
Yo. How's it going?
Good. Not last this week. And as I said, not least either. You good with that, Sam? We're good? Still sounds like we're still not good.
I'm going to need some time.
Okay. And last and not least, we have very special guest with us this week from the Bunny Ears podcast with Macaulay Culkin. Not Macaulay Culkin. We have Matt Cohen with us, joining us after a little hiatus with us. How's it going, Matt?
I went on a sabbatical. First off, it's going good. I thought that I was the first introduction, so when you said a very special guest who translates weekly, and I was like, ooh, not me, guys. Like, I don't know. But that clearly wasn't for me. It's going well. Also, you say last but not least, but you just told Sam that he was not least, so I feel like I'm least just by virtue of like logic. But I'll take it.
Sorry, Matt, but yeah,
I'll
we kind of
take it.
determined
Whatever.
this last week. Yeah,
There's no way for
really
you know
is
what?
least.
I'll take it because I probably know the least about One Piece compared to everyone else on the show. So,
well, you know what?
Zach just cannot win.
That's the first thing I was going to say. The second thing I was going to say is this is a perfect chapter for that because you really don't have to know anyone because there's a lot of new characters. Yeah.
Yup.
I
I know who Sabo is, so I'm good on this one.
There you go. You're all set. So this week we're going through chapter 904, introducing the Revolutionary Army captains, and Matt's going to help us do that. We also have an anime recap. Sam, what do we have this week?
That would be for episode 836.
Do you have the title?
It's a very complicated title.
I want to hear it now.
It's got like the worst rhythm of a title ever.
For Toy, that really
I want to hear this
something.
now.
Yeah, now I'm like at the edge of my seat waiting for the title.
It's like Mom's Secret, the Giant's Island Elbaf, and a Little Monster. I guess that's not so bad, but
that's
like
not that bad. But it does tell the entire plot of what happens in that episode.
Next episode's like, I think it was next episode. It had an even worse one.
Oh my god. Anyway, we're up to the really good stuff. Big Mom's flashback in the anime, so be sure to listen to that. But we're starting a new arc here in the manga, so please, if you are just joining us, you could kind of join us from scratch, I guess, kind of. So hope you enjoy that. Just a quick.
I'll ask my first dumb question.
Please.
Are we officially in Wano yet? Is this the Wano arc or no?
No.
Of course not. We got like 2 before that, huh?
So, the thing Oda said is we have like, I don't know if it's a mini arc or a full arc for the Reverie.
Okay.
So that's
hey, I'm down because I'm excited about the Reverie.
It's exciting.
Yeah. Everyone's coming.
It's a big party of all the secondary and tertiary characters. So
Which is all I care about. Exactly.
So, the unluckies show up in the middle just randomly. We got a lot of that to go through. Before we start, we're on Patreon, patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. Just in case, Matt, you don't get a chance to plug your show, we should probably talk about your brand new awesome podcast that I feel like is exclusively targeted to 30-somethings who grew up on Long Island. But I should say 30-something Jews that grew up on Long Island.
Yeah, exactly. I like to think it for 18-somethings to 40-somethings. But, I have a new weekly podcast I'm involved with called Bunny Ears. It's myself and Macaulay Culkin, and sometimes our other buddy Stu, and sometimes a special guest. And it's kind of like every podcast on the internet in one podcast. So we don't have a theme, but 1 week we might do an entire episode about true crime. 1 week we might do one about wrestling. 1 week we might interview Kevin Smith. So it's kind of just a catch-all. Come hang out with me and the Page Master Child. And we've also got like a website, bunnyears.com. And it's a whole thing, man. Yeah, check out Bunny Ears. We also talk about One Piece. I'm exposing the Home Alone child to as much One Piece as humanly possible. Which means I just bring him into my Japanese room. I go, "This is One Piece," and he goes, "Okay." But that's the extent of it so far. But it's a lot of fun, and I hope everyone will come check it out. It airs Wednesdays on the internet, or you could go to bunnyears.com for more info.
Yeah, and one day you'll get him hooked, and we'll have him on here, I'm sure, in the distant
exactly.
future.
Or Or you guys have to just pretend this is a wrestling podcast, and we'll bring them in under false pretenses.
We have enough fans of wrestling that we could totally do that, and we talk about wrestling enough, I think, where I often forget we're a One Piece podcast. Simpsons references and wrestling references. I mean, that's our
like
jam.
every good podcast. Yeah. But no, it's been a lot of fun, and check it out if you want.
I heartily endorse the Bunny Ears podcast. It's great. It's everything you want in a podcast, plus a game with a chess clock. So always fun. Which you have you come up with a name for that yet?
We have an internal name that we use. I could tell you off air, but it's not for the people to hear.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so why don't we get into the show? We got lots of manga to talk about. You guys ready?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is the manga recap for chapter 904, introducing the Revolutionary Army Captains. Ed, what's going on the front page here?
Oh, it's the saga of the self-proclaimed Straw Hat Fleet, Volume 34, where Lumbus retiring from being the pioneer adventurer of the Standing Kingdom. And he's got a big letter, and it says resignation, and it's being thrown back at him by the king. So the king is not happy about this at all, but he doesn't have much else to say.
I apologize for this dad joke, but why is the king of the Standing Kingdom sitting?
Very good question, Zach.
His standing desk hasn't arrived yet.
That's what you get to do when you're king. You get to sit. That's the whole,
I think you're making a lot of assumptions about whether or not that guy's actually sitting. You could be standing. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be a
trouble situation.
He might be kind of a Napoleonic kind of thing, he's short.
Guys, I don't want to ruin it, but I found out recently Napoleon was 5'7", which isn't that short.
I'm like almost 5. I'm a little.
That's about how tall I am. Yeah.
Right? Doesn't that make you feel bad?
I feel bad every day when I.
All right, fair enough.
As soon as I open my eyes, I think to myself, "Oh, it's another one of these days."
Are you okay, Alex?
Yeah, but hey, Alex, at least now you can be like, "But hey, I'm the same height as Napoleon, so."
And look at
nothing
what
can stop me.
At least I have that going for me.
Yeah, which is nice. Yeah.
Me and Napoleon share one thing in common.
I hope just the one thing. So this is the most that's happened on a cover page in a while. Thoughts? Any thoughts?
Orlumbus is still the least interesting of all of the Straw Hat Fleet members.
But he's an adventurer, Ed.
I was like, wait, he was still like hired by someone else this whole time? Like this feels like new information to me.
Well, I mean,
old information.
Like Columbus. Columbus worked for,
Yeah. It's just that was
was
never really part of his character that much.
It's always weird. It's always weird to me that. Oh, go ahead, Sam. Sorry,
Sam, go.
He's a pioneer adventurer, so you'd be like Mont Blanc Noland almost.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I was saying it was always funny to me that Christopher Columbus was an Italian who worked for the Spanish. It was because the Italians all thought he was an asshole.
To be fair, Orlumbus is an asshole. Did
you guys know that his fleet is called the Yanta Maria? So it's totally a Christopher Columbus thing.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's Santa Maria +1 in Japanese.
Yeah. Oh yeah, good for you, man.
And there's also the fleet with the 3 in it that are the Santa Maria.
Well,
Although no Nina or Pinta. Ed, unless there's any other thoughts about that, you want to get started in the chapter?
Oh, I'm ready. All right, here we go. We start at Kamabaka Queendom, Peachy Island. The revolutionaries, having lost their long-time base of Baltigo, moved their upcoming council meeting to this island. And, the appearance of the island sort of breaks the seriousness of that of the line there, with the Brontosaurus with, like, heart spots on him, eating...
For some reason, I thought that was a giraffe, a heart giraffe.
It's a Nessie. Come on, guys.
Yeah. So... And there's just a little laughing, hee going on the island there, and he's back, or well, Ivankov is back. I mean, it's hard to say. I guess he's currently a he at the moment. I mean, yeah. Your bloodline's most impressive. That Straw Boy's a real man. Not to mention Sanji Boy, a prince of Germa 66, and not a word of it to me. What a cad! This incident got Germa booted out of the world government. And
super happy to see Ivankov back here.
Yeah.
I guess this was pretty predictable, but still.
Well, it's kind of where we saw them going after their big hideout was destroyed. I'm so happy Ivankov is back. It's just it brightens up every page that they're on.
I'll be honest, when I was like, oh great, this is going to be another issue of all of the C-list characters coming back, and then it was just Ivankov, and I was like, all right. I was like, another cameo fest, guys, get ready.
It's all a lot of new characters.
I'm sure we'll have that in the next few weeks too.
Mm-hmm.
Where the fuck is Buggy? I'm sorry, let's keep going.
So yeah, Dragon continues. This incident got Germa booted out of the world government. Our officers are certainly taking their time. They shouldn't be that far away now. And Ivankov calls over to Sabo and says, what have you been doing over there? And Koala replies, the chief of staff spent so long grinning at Luffy's article that he cramped his cheeks. What a goof.
I like all the little benign names Ivankov has for people. Like, what a cad. What a goof.
Yeah, I tried to kind of play up that angle because, if you're familiar, I guess, with the with the way that the voice actor does it in the Japanese dub of the anime, you would know that like Ivankov has a really crazy speaking style in Japanese, especially written down. And for whatever reason, I think that all the Impel Down stuff when Viz was working on the manga of that was part of their big speed up project. And in that was a case where they were just kind of handing out volumes left and right to the different people that they were working with to put all that stuff together, and whoever was working on it at the time or collectively they just kind of decided we don't know what to do with this. And so his style is way more laid back and kind of plain in the English translation. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to break that with the precedent set there, but I can sort of play up the I guess the kind of campiness of it, at least. So, yeah, that was what I was doing there.
Then we get a Denden Mushi call coming in. Sabo picks up, and it's Lindbergh speaking. He says, Sabo, there's trouble nearby. Do you mind waiting a bit longer? And Sabo holding the phone like he's a teenage girl laying in bed.
Oh, Luffy.
do you mind waiting a bit longer? And he says, fine, as long as you're safe. And it
doesn't help that the hearts from somewhere else are kind of scrolling past the
well, yeah, they are. They're speaking, and there's they're very excited.
Jeez. If I got a call from a Lindbergh, I would expect the other person on the other line to say, I miss my fly dada.
But the queens are all very thrilled. It's so thrilling, all the officers of the Revolutionary Army. They're gathering right here. I want to see Morley. I'm all about Betty. So they all have their faves. But this next line is kind of astonishing to me, where Dragon turns to Sabo and says, I suppose we could firm up our plans first, Sabo. Firm them up now? Like, you didn't have a plan?
Yeah.
It's in 2 days. I think when he says firm up our plans, he means more like, let's just like fix the little parts of this itinerary. Like, they have the general outline.
Hey, maybe he's more like his son than we think. He says that this river.
Yeah, that's my question. Isn't Dragon definitely in charge of the army? So the fact that he's even like conferring with Sabo imply, right? Or am I completely off here and is Sabo in charge now?
Sabo's the chief of staff, so I assume
he's the number 2. Yeah.
If it's anything,
number two to Dragon, though, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
He's the guy who probably organizes everything. So, like, a chief of staff would do. Yeah.
Even Dragon's got to delegate.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So at this reverie, it is finally time. And Sabo finishes his sentences to declare war, right? Against the celestial dragons. Big doom in the background.
Like Ed making the sound effects.
Yeah, they're looking at each other like sort of out of the side of their eyes. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest reveal, I guess, of this chapter. So that's cool. I mean, what else is there to say about it? Then I'm excited for that.
Yes.
Technically,
Steven.
I think the biggest reveal is on the next page, but that's just me.
Well, we all have our favorite reveals. Steven.
So we continue on the next page, and we get a wide shot here of some intensely detailed background architecture. We can see some ships in a port outside of a town with a castle and lots of spires and snowy mountains and stuff. And this is apparently the Lelucia Kingdom, which we saw, which we heard reference to last week with the kidnapped princess who was rescued by Kobe and Helmeppo. And something's going on. There's a pirate. They're stealing valuables, and people are wondering where the Navy is. And then we see this guy here, Captain Peachbeard, which, if you couldn't guess based on his his championship belt there, his Japanese name is Momohige, which could have gone with Pinkbeard as well. That would be another valid way of doing it. But I went with Peachbeard. Makes his laugh a little easier. And and he is saying, "Pee ha 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 ha! This Navy ship is just lip service." And then we see actually a flash that this guy is he's repping the Blackbeard flag with the 30 skulls, and he's laughing it up that the king of Lelucia is gone for the reverie, and he took all of his best soldiers with him. And so this Peachbeard, who is apparently working for Blackbeard, Emperor of the Sea, and he assumed that name of Peachbeard, and he says, "Remember my name and fear Blackbeard," as the the townsfolk are trembling in fear. And guy's kind of a doofus because he's real ugly, but he's kind of rocking the Cavendish hair, I guess, although it's presumably pink.
Big feather in his hat too.
Are those cargo pockets? Like, I'm trying to
on his shirt.
Yeah. He's kind of got a business casual pirate look going.
Yeah.
No, that's supposed to be, I think, sort of a on safari kind of garb with the
those are cargo pockets,
utility pockets for going
Peachbeard on safari.
Right.
Yeah, and on the next page, the people are suffering. These pirates are just they're taking everything, what little of it there is, and killing any who resist. And there's a young lady who pleads with him to spare them, because the only thing they have is their heavenly tribute, which is what gets paid to the king and to the celestial dragons. That's definitely a callback that we've heard before. And they're just barely getting by as it is. If you take the heavenly tribute, then not only will they not have any money, they'll also be put to death for failing to pay the tax. And Peachbeard momentarily, "Oh my God, what a horrible king! But sorry, what was that you said about money?" And he smacks her and he says, "Find it!" And he's not going to let it. He's not going to let that stop him. And then the girl falls onto someone's chest. Speaking of big reveals, and
oh my God,
she's squishing. Her hand is literally squishing as she was. What did I hit?
Oh,
and someone says, "Go, Morley."
I just want to say that this money that he's talking about, this is the money that the princess in the last chapter was talking about. Your father will give you all the money you need. This is the same, very introducing class consciousness into my One Piece, and I appreciate it.
I don't think that was recently introduced, Ed. I believe that's been there for some time.
It's going to be a lot more obvious when you read it in a volume as opposed to waiting a week.
No, I mean, class consciousness has been a pretty big...
No, I know, but...
You guys, Oda hates rich people, and he writes about how he hates them from his mansion in Tokyo.
Yeah.
To be fair, yes. Alex, there's a reveal in this as to this person. I think that's what you were talking about, the girl here.
Yeah, that's right. The last time we saw this girl was in Ace's cover story. This is Moda, the Milk Maiden.
What?
Oh
shit.
Yeah, same dress, and she also has a bandana. I mean, if we were just going by the bandana, I could have taken it or leaving it, but that is the exact same dress that Moda wears. So.
All right, I'm gonna distract us for another second. Do you think that's an assistant editor being like, "Oh, Oda, this is a great chance to work that character back in," or do you think he knows every single character he's ever created in this series?
I'm sure that this was intentional on his part.
That's crazy. All right, let's go.
Go,
Right.
yeah, Alex. Yeah.
So next page, as soon as this person says "Go Morley," as if she's commanding a Pokemon, the ground starts rumbling and sort of deforming. The pirates with a I'm sorry, the onomatopoeia is interesting. It's Merle Merle. As the pirates exclaim that there's something under the ground, a giant harpoon, a kind of technologically sci-fi-ish giant harpoon pops out of the hilly ground, and we get the birth of a new character in the bottom panel here. In the great tradition of births in this on this podcast.
Ace Ventura 2 is what
yeah.
calls to mind.
That's right. Yeah, this is the birth of Morley, I guess, with a hup and a hup and a hoo. We have a giant man has popped out of the ground, which sort of looks like a big feather mattress now. That's been so many roles.
Is he wearing a kilt?
That is a schoolgirl skirt.
Yeah.
That is a schoolgirl skirt,
great.
and he's got the knee-high socks to match it.
Yep.
Love him.
Like a giant miner who sort of looks Yellow Submarine-esque. If I were to,
He kind of
looks like the wrestler, the Blue Meanie.
Sell me this toy right now and charge me whatever you want for it. 'Cause I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also his eyes and face are similar to Sign One Wolf as well, which
Well, look how big he is too. He's like Pika
Yeah.
sized. He's like giant.
No, he's definitely
Yeah.
smaller than Pika.
Yeah, I
but-
wouldn't call him quite Pika size, but he's definitely huge.
He's like bigger than Whitebeard though. You know.
Yeah.
If
Oh
we're-
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. They are saying he's a giant, like a giant, species
like a
of
race
giant.
of giants. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
again, it's made clear that nobody on this island's ever seen a giant before.
Yes, like I said, a giant just popped out of the ground, and he's dressed peculiarly, which could refer to his skirt, or it could refer to the fact that he's a miner. By the way, miner spelled like the profession, not like a underage. And he's huffing and puffing, and is, oh, why are you staring at me like that? Are you just completely obsessed with me? And Peachbeard
The answer to that
is
is
saying
yes.
that yeah, what he's saying doesn't match his deep voice, and he's making false accusations. So he sticks his trident back in the ground with a moomph. These are really interesting sound effects.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because there's actually like 3 or 4 puns that are going on here. It's all based around the word mori. And so like his name Morley is just elongated Mori in Japanese. And Mori is the name of a trident or a harpoon, which is his weapon. And then like Mori Mori Mori, that kind of sound effect is like the sound of something kind of like bulging out of something else or protruding from something as well. So like it's the sound that he makes, and it's his item, and then Oda just kind of turn that into his name as well. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm trying to kind of double up on the sounds so that you can kind of see a little bit of a through line between all these aspects. But
Maybe also
it's just kind of
maybe also digging through the ground like a mole kind of thing. I don't know if that works in Japanese. I know the R and the L thing could be.
That would have been more of a coincidence, I think. But yeah, it's Moley. That would be a good name for him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mori Povich.
Moly
Moli
Povich.
Povich.
Yeah.
Well, that's a tongue twister. What about his speech pattern, Stephen?
Yeah, he definitely talks like, okay, so they joked about him having a deep voice, but he's going like, ew, what are you looking at? Why are you staring at me like that? So yeah, it is, to be fair, it is rather similar to Pound from the very last arc. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Oda was like, oh, well, I killed that guy, so I got to bring a new one out.
Also, Pound's gag made no sense and was never explained.
Yeah. That's
it's like Oda's like, I'm not done with this character yet. I'm making him again.
Yeah.
I feel like Oda just saw that new Jumanji and was like, oh, I just love the idea of like a fat guy playing like a teenage girl. And also Jack Black was great in that. So that's what I'm picturing when I hear Mori talking, is just like super jappy, and or Valley Girl if you're from that part of the country.
Should we explain the
spoiled
term
high
Jap?
school girl.
Sure, explain the term Jap to people who aren't from Long Island.
The Jewish American
Sure.
princess. Yeah.
I mean, Babs was a movie. I thought it made national consciousness at that point, but yeah, Jewish American. So just like, ew, what are you looking at? Like that's how I imagine him talking, but in a super deep voice. So
Yeah.
Stop
Stop.
on, yeah.
Oh, I so
Exactly.
hope now. All I could imagine is Jack Black. I even like kind of see it in his face
Yeah.
a little bit.
It's
Okay.
neckbeard.
Where are we, Sam?
Yeah, so Morley is using his trident to kind of like push some of the ground and like kind of scoop it up against the guys who are, yelling at him like, "You leave me alone, boys." His power his power kind of makes me think a little bit of like Senior Pink's swim fruit, where he's just kind of like molding the ground around him.
Yeah.
So the townspeople are talking among themselves. They're murmuring, do giants live in the earth? I've never seen one. Who is he anyway? A Navy sailor? And so the pirates are shouting, "The ground's like soft clay. What's going on? Stand strong. He's got some kind of powers." And the woman who, what's the other girl's, Moda?
Yeah.
Oh, the milk girl.
Yeah. So the girl, the woman that Moda ran into is, we see a little bit of her. She's talking to the townspeople. "So what is it you want to do, you passive, unresisting trash?" And the townsfolk are just kind of like, they're not like taken aback by the insult. They're just kind of confused. Like, what? What do we want? Who are you? What are you people doing here? And the woman begins, "We are," and then we don't get to hear the rest of her sentence quite yet.
That's
there are
because she
two-
sings the entire opening
Yeah, she's
theme.
singing the song.
We are. Okay. There are two more up there, Captain. There are two more figures. We see, speaking of characters that I think Oda wasn't done drawing, we've got a guy who has basically Doflamingo's coat, but black.
Yeah, but with like an awesome weird S&M monster face.
Yeah, he's got
Or
the
is that just a mustache? Oh, that's just a
the plague-
mustache. Or is that a mask?
it's a
Yeah,
plague mask.
he's a plague doctor, and it also makes him look like a crow, which also we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And next to him is a little mousy looking guy. He doesn't look like he's quite human. He looks small and he's got whiskers and a animal nose.
I
He's
know
got
we'll mention the fans who mentioned this later. Steve mentioned that who we'll later find out is Karasu, also has the same name as a member from Yu Yu Hakusho who has the same exact kind of gimmick. And another fan mentioned that who we're going to find out is Lindbergh.
Looks like he may have been in a panel.
Yeah.
Long
That
time
was
ago.
the Sabo Amnesia chapter back at the end of I think that was 801.
Maybe.
Dressrosa.
Yeah. It's not Karasu's first appearance either, but we'll get to that.
And
That's
this
true, yeah.
this smaller guy is saying, now, just a moment, Morley. I've got my newly invented weapons to use. You don't have to go and beat them all before I get a shot. And the pirate is saying, "Captain Peachbeard, I know them. Those 4 people are supposed to be scattered all over the world."
Yeah. So we get a big introduction. It takes up 2/3 of the page, introducing these 4 military captains of the Revolutionary Army. First, we got Captain of the Revolutionary Army Western Forces, Morley. Captain of the Revolutionary Army Eastern Forces, Beloooooooooo, and I'll get to her in a
Hello, nurse.
Yes, I'll get to her in a second. Captain of the Revolutionary Army Southern Forces, Lindbergh, and Captain of the Revolutionary
yeah.
Army Northern Forces, Karasu. And I just want to talk about Beloooooooooo for a while, because
Do I need to step out for this, Ed?
No, because I learned a lot about the French Revolution recently. Listening to the Revolutions podcast.
I
It's
knew
a good
it.
podcast. You should
Yeah.
listen to it. But yeah, so this is, I think, a pretty clear reference to a painting called Liberty Leading the People. It was intended as sort of the spirit of the revolution, the first French Revolution in the late 1790s, of this bare-chested woman, sort of matronly, but not like, sort of a strong woman, bare-breasted, leading a charge with a flag, the French flag, towards freedom. It's also the same sort of inspiration for the the statue Liberty Enlightening the World, which we also know as the Statue of Liberty. And on a lot of coins, actually, the goddess Liberty is depicted as wearing a winged hat or a winged helmet. And so she has a sort of similar aspect in her steampunk top hat. So I don't know. I just with the and what we find out her power is, I think it's a pretty clear reference to classical or romantic art. So I was very excited to see that. And not just because she's almost completely naked.
Oda was like, well, I can't have her with the titties all out, so I got to cover it up with something.
It's actually interesting in like because I remember seeing this painting, I think, at a not in a museum because it's in France, but I feel like I've seen it in like an art class maybe, or like an art textbook. And it was like one of the first times, like, because granted I was probably in like middle school at the time, but this is like a bare-breasted woman in a painting, and it wasn't erotic at all. It was kind of inspiring, like.
And since this is Oda, it has to be both.
It has to, well, this gravity does not work on her. I guess she inspires gravity to not work on her.
To be fair, this isn't a new kind of physics, in the One Piece world. No.
Yeah, sometime during that time skip, boobs stopped going down at all ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Maybe it has something to do with that weird gravity planet that sucked Bedge in.
Right.
That we have never heard from again.
Or Jewelry Bonnie.
Right. So there's more to this page though, and one of the sort of townspeople's like, revolutionaries. Why are 4 of the Revolutionary Army's officers here in this one town? And Morley, I love him. He says, "Oh, you boys and your violence," and
oh, you men.
Yeah. So Betty has to remind them they do it because they like you, you giant rube. And she continues to be a little bit insulting. Earlier she says, "Pipe down, scum," on this page. But Morley says, "Ew, yuck, barf." Yeah. So is that I'm not sure who's saying this. It says, oh, that's Lindbergh up there, yeah. Saying, "Can I go already, Betty?" And yeah, so nobody's answering the question of what they're doing here, and what's that guy mumbling about? And then we can hear it. Apparently, he says it's a snap. He's like, he just snapped for some reason. Like the vein bulges out on Karasu's head,
and there's muttering sound effects, but very tiny. And this has been going on the whole time.
Yeah, it's going on the entire, like every frame he's in. There's a little mumbling noises coming from his face,
which is actually important. Matt.
Nice. And then on the next page, we got Bello Betty leading the charge. Is that the basic painting you're talking about, dude? Like her holding up a flag? Yeah.
I posted it on Twitter earlier.
And she's yelling out to the townspeople, "What's the call, you trash mongers? Will you die or will you fight? Choose your own fate." Everyone's crying and sad. And now suddenly they're like, "No, F that, we're down." Is being the hero someone else's job? It could be yours. And then the townsfolk picked up their sticks. "You make me laugh. Are you actually going to fight us?" That's Peachbeard saying that, being like, what? This random chick with her boobs out is suddenly going to make you guys heroes? And she goes, "Lind, Karasu, provide backup." And then on the next page, the townspeople are suddenly like super swole. Maybe that's someone's gum gum power is like making other people strong. It just reminds me of what is that, Kung Fu Hustle? That super nerdy guy when you see him from the face up, and then he's got like giant muscles. "Drive out those stinking pirates." And then Morley saying, I bet you do. That's the power of Betty's pump. Oh, wait, excuse me. "I bet you do. That's the power of Betty's pum-pum fruit. A single wave of her banner calls forth the strength within you." So that literally is what I just described. "Betty's the flag bearer of freedom." So Betty's Betty's devil fruit power. She makes other people release the strength within them, which is pretty awesome. That would not work on me because I feel like I have zero inner strength.
She turns
she raises up her flag in front of me and I just evaporate into a fucking plume of pot smoke or something.
She turns people into 2 pump chumps. That's what she does.
Exactly. And then some of the pirates are saying they never found out the hard way that getting shot hurts. And then you got Lindbergh saying this, "Eat this." And then Cool Shooter, which is his like ice gun thing, which instantly freezes these guys solid and their guns. And then all of a sudden, Nerdy Towns guy's like, "Get out of my town. You don't even go here." empowered by the Revolutionary Army, who, by the way, I thought were straight up bad guys for the first few pages.
They're definitely menacing in
Yeah,
their way.
But I'm glad
Betty is
they're
very
on
insulting.
I'm glad they're
Yeah.
on our side. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's me, isn't it? Should we mention these crows first? Who was it who wanted Ed, I think you wanted to mention these crows.
So yeah, this is, I believe, what Sabo rode to get away from Dressrosa.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
We're trying to figure out what the deal with that was years ago.
Yeah, and we're like, I guess
Years
we're not
ago.
going to find out for another 100 chapters, and here we are, 100 chapters later, finding out.
Mhm.
We may have literally said that. I have to check the tape. We don't actually use tapes here, guys. Anyway, so we have Karasu using literal crows, as his name suggests in Japanese. What are these, shadow crows? Anyway, they're cacawing and taking away all of the weapons of the Peachbeard pirates. Meanwhile, this is actually, what's her name again? The cowgirl. What's her? Alex.
Moda.
Mota.
Hitting Peachbeard upside the head, knocking out Moda gets to knock out the big the baddie of this little mini arc, a 50 million berry man here, and the rest of the
Wait.
right?
So what happened to his hat? Like he's got
No,
like, this
no,
weird...
he got flung away when Morley scooped up the ground. He got blown away by that. I think. That's
Okay, so is that like his do-rag or something? Like what is that
Yeah, I think
thing?
so.
It's
on his
probably
head?
his bandana that he has underneath the.
But the
Okay.
hat shows up again in
Oh.
at the end.
Yeah,
They
I
put
actually,
it back on him.
Yeah, I actually see here. I went back to that page, and you can kind of see as he's flying, being flown away, or he's like getting blown away, that you can see the polka dots on his bandana under his hat.
And you can see it
Yeah.
even a little
I
bit
see.
lower. But, and I'm sure someone just came and put the hat back on. It's fine. So yeah, the rest of the townspeople smack and, beat up the rest of them. And then we get, sometime later, after all this fighting has occurred, and the rest of the Peachbeard pirates seem to... Whose ship is that in the background? Is that still
That's the useless Navy ship.
No, that's the revolutionary ship,
That's-
I think. And I think they're celebrating, I'm guessing, because it's black flags. So that makes me think...
I think that's the other pirates just running away because they have Peachbeard there.
Oh, yeah. I guess Blackbeard would also have black sails.
All right, the Navy ship was sunk in the harbor by the pirates. Okay.
So apparently, what's her face again? Bello Betty, picks up the bounty and says, he had this is Peachbeard, or she had it in her pocket. Who knows? I'm sure she hid it somewhere on her person. Saying Peachbeard, bounty of 50 million. And he, with his, let's say, dying breath, said, Master Blackbeard will extend his wrath upon you. I don't know what accent I'm doing there.
Can I just say something though? This might be improperly lettered. They're using the same font.
The same font. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
this
two different
is-
people talking.
This is Betty, I think, probably saying sorry, but he doesn't care about the people working for him, I'm guessing. And then Betty, who talks more like a pirate than anyone else in the series, says, listen up, you yellow-bellied, lily-livered, sad-sack clowns. That 50 million berry bounty is yours. And she makes a face turn. Is that what it's called in wrestling?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm learning stuff. And gives the bounty to the townsfolk, saying, this is how you could contact us. Here's our business card. Please take this in the traditional Japanese manner where you look at it for a little while with both hands and then say, thank you very much. That doesn't happen. But anyway, she said she takes her glasses down a little bit. Slightly different eyes than we normally get for a female Oda character. And slightly different look, saying, you did good today. Call us anytime. Wherever the weak stand up for themselves, we'll be close behind to help. And everyone, all the townspeople are crying there, thank you, Ms. Bello Betty. And we see the 4 revolutionary, I don't know, commanders, whatever we're calling them. We got, who's doing our Moly Povich voice here?
Moly Povich.
Zach, you can do one. Go for it.
Yeah, try it.
I did grow up in the jappiest town on Long Island. Hey, why are we even supposed to be meeting up anyway? And not bad. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Betty says we're going to pick a fight with the Celestial Dragons. which we heard at the beginning of this chapter, holding the. I guess is this the first time we officially see the full Revolutionary Army flag? I believe it is.
Yeah.
Cool to see that. Looks like there's some sort of dragon in it. Anyway,
Yeah, it's got a dragon on it.
Yeah.
Lindbergh, not the baby, but the man, says that's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. For some reason, hearts. And also you should probably turn on your amplifier, Karasu. And apparently he had forgot to turn that on, and that is why he has been mumbling this entire chapter. And Ed, you want to finish us off a little bit here?
Sure. Only 2 days until the reverie, and the schemes of players around the world begin to intertwine.
So that's the introduction of the revolutionaries.
That's such a Gadatsu punchline.
Yeah, that's right.
But you know what? Gadatsu's gag was one of my favorite in Skypiea, so I'm okay with that. Let's go around the horn, what we think about this chapter. Matt, why don't we start with you?
I am into it, man. Again, I'm all for new powered characters. I want a Karasu and a Morley toy, which is my way of really grading a One Piece chapter. Is have they introduced something I can spend money on? And the answer is yes. I'm down with these new revolutionaries. And honestly, like I have been waiting the entire time I have been a One Piece fan for Dragon to have more of an impact on this story. So I'm excited for anything that leads to that, and or him and Luffy in the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that we're tracking. I'm happy that we're tracking this group. Yeah.
Wow, succinct, nice. Yeah, I agree with the figures though. I mean, a Morley figure, as disturbing as that would be.
you know, Matt,
God,
I would have had you pegged for a Lindbergh fan.
See, I like because he looks like a cat, right? But I'm not into I'm not into the steampunk thing so much. So
they're
like,
all steampunky, to be fair.
Well, he's the most steampunk, though.
Yeah.
Also,
He's
Steve, I
got- he's
appreciate
literally-
your restraint there with not doing any Arnold Schwarzenegger, Batman, and Robin puns.
exactly. Yo, Karasu is dope looking. Like, yes, he is literally wearing Doflamingo's jacket, but just like painted black. And he kind of has like, I don't know if killer is the vibe, but like it's an amalgamation of all of the cool One Piece characters I've liked before into a new bad looking man, but I'm down with it.
Mr. One included, I think.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like kind of it's nothing new Oda wise. None of these characters are like a new presentation at this point, but give the guy a break for having to create 8,000 characters. But I'm into it though.
I forgot who said it on Twitter, but I think it was Todd who said these are the GW Otaku on Twitter. That these are the most Oda One Piece character. It's like each of like his most archetypal
Absolutely, yeah.
people. Yeah. Alex, you want to share your thoughts?
Sure, yeah. This was a short chapter, right? Like it felt short.
It was
Like 3 pages shorter. Yeah.
Okay, just throwing that out there. Yeah, I liked it. I wasn't expecting to see these guys so soon, but maybe I'm just dumb. Cool to see Eva. Always great to see Ivankov. I like that we finally got an answer to the Phantom Crows. That's kind of I was pretty happy about that. Moda showing up is a really cool thing. Lelouch, I wonder what the analog, like the real life analog for Lelouch is. Just because Oda seems to, derive a lot of these locations from real places in the world.
Architecture speaking.
Yes.
I thought the castle on top of like the mountaintop kind of looked like a lot sort of like southern Germany.
Yeah, it looks a lot like a Neuschwanstein castle.
Yeah.
I can think of as Andalusia is a place in Spain.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Which is like on the ocean and stuff.
Yeah. So basically the real meat of the chapter is the introduction of these 4 characters, and I think they're all pretty great. Morley, I really love. I love them all, really. With the actually exception of Lindbergh, I'm not a huge fan of his design, just because I also don't like steampunk. I think the steampunk aspect of the revolutionaries is the weakest part about them.
Yeah, he's got 2 sets of goggles, so like this guy's Puss in Goggles.
Yeah,
it's almost kind of like Dragon secretly has bad taste, and it's reflected by the rest of the team.
Yeah,
Just a lot of big fucking hats. You know what I mean? Like those are impractical on a boat. They would blow off every time the wind came by. Like,
Look, we need
look at the straw hats. No big hats.
Now we get a chance for One Piece cosplayers at steampunk conventions, or like some sort of amalgamation of those two worlds. Is that so bad? I don't know. I can't speak for that.
I don't know. I mean, I think somebody in a bodysuit, you'd have to wear a bodysuit to cosplay Bello Betty, but I think someone could pull it off.
So Morley's design is pretty rad, actually. I wonder if he is related to whatever San Juan Wolf is, just because of the face is very similar.
You guys, he looks like those people who live above the Fraggles, like the monsters.
The Gorgs, yeah.
Yeah, he looks like those.
He's a giant like person inside of an even bigger Muppet. Ed did a really great job of diving into Bello Betty. Bello is the that's like the onomatopoeia for licking, right? In Japanese.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I wonder what that has to do with her name.
Well, it's also, I think, because if you say it like it's almost like a Japanese
Liberty. Yeah.
Liberty, it's Libati or Libeti or the way you pronounce it when you have a Japanese accent.
My assumption was
sounds.
Yeah, my assumption was Bello was playing off of like Bella, so it was something like Beautiful Liberty or something like that. Yeah.
Bello Betty. I like that. Yeah. Lindbergh, he's fine. For a cat mink, he's fine. We've seen once you go cat viper, you've hit the peak of cat minks. I'm sorry to say. And Karasu's design is interesting. He looks like a Cenobite from Hellraiser.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
His power reminds me of that one character from My Hero Academia, who's like the dark crow.
Right. Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Tokoyami.
Well, there's actually a villain who has the plague Dr. Mask later.
Oh, neat. So in classic Oda design, I kind of hope that when he takes that mask off, his face still kind of looks like a beak. Just because that's very, I don't know, that would seem very Oda to me. Betty's power is amazing. It's really cool to see like a power that buffs. She's a healer. She's a bard. She buffs your characters. That's awesome. That's hella awesome. And I wonder if Morley's power is his own or if it is in his trident. That's.
Do you think she also buffs devil fruit users though, or is it just normal people?
Good question.
Given Oda's propensity to just sort of say, oh yeah, also the devil fruit can do this. I wouldn't be surprised if she could also buff ability users' powers, but it seems like it's more about the
innate power in everyone or something.
Yeah.
Some people like Luffy have more strength internally than others.
Yeah,
she might be able to buff. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like in later, she might be able to be a bonus to a battle or something. Yeah,
like the Namekian Grand Elder.
Yes, that's what I thought of
potential.
It's actually kind of funny. With her and Eva, you have two characters right off the bat in the Revolutionary Army who are buff characters. Like Eva can do very similar things as well.
I mean, not to jump too far ahead, and I'm jumping as far ahead as I possibly can here. In the kind of final battle thing, the revolutionaries, I assume, are going to be playing a pretty big role. They're kind of like the only force in the world kind of directly opposed to the government, and that's their goal. So the fact that there are a lot of people like support like that, and we saw Ivankov doing that in Marineford, is, I feel like there's a reason for that,
So I have another classic Matt Cohen dumb question that will show how little I know about One Piece. And I think I've even asked this the last time I was on the show. Our big battle, that's against Blackbeard? Who's the main bad guy of One Piece at this point? Do we know yet?
Probably.
Probably Blackbeard, right? Yeah.
Right, because his ideals are like explicitly drawn to be opposite of Luffy's. So he kind of has to be.
Sure, he's the anti-Whitebeard. He's the anti-everything good. Yeah. No, that makes sense to me. Are we ever going to hear about that treasure again? Or that's just a metaphor, probably?
Chapter 2050.
Great. They'll go, oh, yeah, by the way, we found the One Piece treasure here. It's a stick or something. Congratulations.
My dog would love that.
Yeah.
What I forgot to mention was Peachbeard. I kind of love how whenever we get some sort of, I don't know, I remember when Brownbeard was introduced and I kind of laughed my ass off. And now we have this guy Peachbeard. Like, I wonder how many quote unquote beards there are in this beard family.
How many have
beard
we seen
family.
so far? Whitebeard, Blackbeard, Peachbeard, Brownbeard, right? Has there been no Bluebeard? Because that's
Not
the real
yet.
one.
There's
Yeah.
been a blue jam, but not a
And
blue
there's
beard.
kind of Weevil, who is not a beard,
Oh.
but he's related to.
Yeah, quote unquote
Maybe,
related.
Quote, unquote, yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I thought this was a cool showcase of these characters. That's basically that's what the chapter was. Pretty good setup to who they are and what they're all about. Yep.
Sam.
So I've been playing Pirate Warriors 3 again, and Bella Betty's power is basically what happens when like you get Luffy's Kizuna meter up.
I guess we should probably mention that Pirate Warriors 3 is out on the Nintendo Switch now.
Yeah, it's very good.
Wait, it
It's
came
very
out
good
on the Switch?
Yeah,
If you haven't played it, but yet.
Ooh, I haven't played it
It's
on
like-
the Switch yet.
yeah, it's like one of the best like game console synergies I've ever seen.
Oh, awesome.
This chapter mostly kind of rolled off of me for the reasons that we kind of mentioned of like all of these new characters. Like this is mostly about introducing these new characters, and they're all very like familiar to like other characters we've seen in One Piece, and like they none of them quite do anything for me. Like I'm not super excited to find out what's next for these guys. I mean, like I'm excited about the general larger story of like the Revolutionary Army and like how they're gonna mess up the Reverie or whatever goes down there, because it's got to be freaking crazy. But like we're still in kind of like an ambiguous position with the Revolutionaries to begin with. So we don't really have much of a firm position on like whether we're rooting for them or not, and that's fine. But like as for like right now, like fresh off of 1.5 billion berries, none of these characters are quite doing it for me yet. I think that I like Morley and Betty's exchange where he's like, "Ew, yuck, barf." That's a really funny page, and I think Betty is interesting in that like she seems like she's a really like that last panel of her with her, like, you did good today. Like you can just so clearly like imagine like the tone in her voice is like you realize, oh, she's actually like pretty cool, despite how kind of crass her language is. But beyond that, like I don't have a whole lot to say.
Steven.
Yeah, I guess I would say that initially my thoughts were similar to Sam's. I was a bit lukewarm on the chapter, although I think I've enjoyed it more. Like the more that I think about it, it is a tough one to get into, just because not only are there no straw hats, which is obviously something we're gonna have to get used to with this Reverie, presumably, but even like the other characters that we know who are kind of conduit to what's going on, we only get 2 pages with them, and then the rest of the chapter is just completely new characters in a unfamiliar setting. And so I was kind of like, oh, okay, that was all right. But I did appreciate like going through it, was that I actually felt like for the first time in forever that like Oda was actually kind of getting back to what the revolutionaries are supposed to be for, like why they exist in the story and their purpose. Because really for like the last like 30 volumes or so, like the extent that the revolutionaries do anything or are shown like interacting on screen, it's basically just been kind of like a collection of like, here's some people who like Luffy, like that you have Sabo and Dragon is Luffy's dad. There's a connection there. Koala, they're people who have some kind of relation to Luffy, and you usually see them when they're like, oh, hey, Luffy did this or that, or here's this cool thing, we're gonna get Sabo now, or whatever it is. And we haven't really seen like their mission statement. And I felt like particularly with Betty's power and the demonstration of her rallying these put upon townsfolk, which like the people who in so many arcs of One Piece are just there to run around and scream and need help from the heroes, like to see them used that way, to be like, okay, so this, now we're getting back to like what what the revolutionaries stand for and kind of getting back to the actual purpose of their fight and for their reason for being in the story. And so that the more I thought about that, the more I liked it. And the captains themselves, again, kind of somewhere in between the other opinions. I kind of like most of them. I was a little, I'll admit, Morley was my least favorite just because I definitely felt deja vu with with the personality style with Pound. But I loved Karasu's joke, especially like if once you know what his gag is when you go back to the scene where he snaps and like the guy, Peachbeard is asking, they're like, what's going on here? Why are they all here? Nobody's answering my question. And he's mumbling there and he's like, what's that guy talking about? And you could tell that he's literally answering the guy's question. And then when Peachbeard is like, why isn't anyone answering my question? You could tell, like, underneath his mask, he's like, I am answering your fucking question. And so that's like, I thought that was a really good, like, sort of delayed joke there. So yeah, that's, I feel like it's a good start. I hope that they, that these characters kind of continue to pay dividends as the revolutionaries eventually, take more of a center stage in the story. Presumably, I guess in the Reverie, I'm not sure what'll happen beyond that, but this seems like the right moment to bring them in. So I'm hoping for more good stuff with them.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephen. Ed, do you have any thoughts?
I think I've gotten just about all of my thoughts out, especially about the revolutionary commanders. I do love that we finally got the explanation of Karasu beat with the crows and how Sabo got away from Dressrosa. But it's a really impressive introduction for these characters, and I like that they have the moral choice of people have to want to take up arms. Granted, Betty makes that easier for them by inspiring them that way, but yeah, the revolutionaries will stand behind the people who take up arms. They're not going to fight the battle for you, because you have to want freedom if you want to be liberated. If you want to have a revolution, you actually have to have it, and can't have other people having it for you.
I feel like someone's going to break into a Beatles thing at some point in this.
Right?
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. But besides that, I love the reintroduction of the Kamabaka Queendom. Always fun going on there, especially if Sanji isn't there. So I think we can have some interesting sort of interactions. I love how excited everyone is for to have this meeting. I
still have mixed feelings about how Oda portrays the Okama. Am I going to be the what do you call it, Debbie Downer here? But yeah, go ahead.
It's going to be the same discussion, because he hasn't changed how he depicts the characters.
We've had this discussion.
Yeah. There are aspects of it that I think are less negative than, especially since they're depicted as being good guys.
Yeah,
that helps a lot. But yeah, there are aspects of it that aren't very stereotypical and very sort of. I think it reflects a sort of lack of understanding, or at least a lack of experience with LGBT issues.
Well, it's weird because on the other hand, I think he has a really good handle on it sometimes. Oda with Mr. Tu, Bon Clay, even Cough. Right. Yeah. You could even say Morley.
Well, yeah, he likes to wear knee socks and a dress, and he's a revolutionary commander. So,
and he's clearly a badass in his own, and he's very self-confident. He's very confident in himself. He knows he's good looking, which of course he is. Ed, anything else?
No, just besides that, I think everyone else has sort of picked up on what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I'll go quick here. I also had the same kind of evolution as Stephen, I think. And Sam, feeling kind of lukewarm on this chapter. I love the characters. I really just all the stuff that Ed mentioned, with the painting of Liberty, especially since she looks like she's wearing a French outfit. And it's almost literally from that painting, so that's really cool.
Yeah, it's not the page that I had. It was the next page where she's superimposed over the panels there.
And Belibity, it's almost like pronounced that way, so that's pretty cool. I'm with Lindbergh, I know we're all kind of not excited about because of the steampunk, but I think he has a lot of potential because I think
because of the jetpacks,
because of the jetpacks and all the cool inventions and stuff.
He's like Rocket Raccoon.
You guys, if you don't love him at his steampunk, you don't deserve him at his jetpack.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, that I forgot to bring up something. Like, so now that we've seen all these guys and they're all rocking the steampunk and like the top hat and the goggles and stuff. So, do you think that like, did Sabo basically set the fashion for the Rev? Like, did he just come in? He was so cool that they all had to copy him.
No, he's the chief of staff. He probably has a dress code.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Or was it just like set in stone? Like, oh, he was rocking that look when he was a little kid. It was just meant to be that he joined the group that also has, all the steampunk stuff. I don't know.
I mean, except for one noticeable exception, the leader of the group, Dragon, who's just a dude in a shirt thing
with a face tat. Yeah.
Yeah, with a full face tat. Yeah.
Well, and Ivankov has her own style.
Well, no one's going to change Ivankov's style.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
That is his style, depending on what she chooses that day. She changes her style constantly, so it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Really, whatever gender he or she feels like being that particular day.
It kind of goes back to the question of like, did Kuma's parents name him Kuma?
Yeah.
He was destined to be a bear fruit. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this chapter was a little short. We didn't, but I mean, this is like setting up some really big world stuff here. I know it's, and in the moment, it's kind of difficult to see that, but this like,
and I joke about firming up the plans to wage war. Reverie in 2 days, but
to be fair, they probably should have. But they also had to get kicked out of. They left Baltigo. It probably kind of messed their timeline up slightly. There's a lot of really big things, big pieces moving here. It's also cool to see the revolutionaries kind of having a foothold in each of the blues. We kind of knew that already. I think Nami or Robin mentioned that like when we first heard about the revolutionaries. It's kind of cool just seeing all that kind of stuff we've been hearing about behind the scenes and kind of seeing it a little bit more in action. Other than that, and just all the little details paying off behind the scenes that we've mentioned, kind of ad nauseum here. Anyway, you guys ready to get into the next segment?
Before we
Alex,
do, I want to thank Steven for doing such a bang up job on this chapter.
Thanks.
And it makes me glad that this podcast exists and that you're on it to tell us these things, because all the different puns that were going on with Mori and that 2-page spread I thought was super, super interesting stuff, and it would be extremely hard just to have in the actual magazine itself.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of multiple bits of wordplay going on there. So yeah, I just try to fit it in as best I can.
I was actually reminded of something that you said on Twitter sometime in the past week about amateurs who do translations and feel the need to include copious notes because this is the first time that they're learning many of these things.
Yeah.
When you say that, it just reminds me of that.
I'll finish with one last thing. I love Karasu's gag in this chapter a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, let's move on.
This is the anime recap for episode 836, Mom's Secret, the Giant's Island Elbath, and a Little Monster. I'm your host Sam, and today with me we have, once again, our good friend Ed.
Hey there, Sam. How's it going?
It's going.
I mean, it was a good episode this week, but it's One Piece isn't usually this hard to watch.
The title card is 3 minutes and 20 seconds, so starting pretty early. We enter with we're coming back to Mom screaming as she's pieced together the broken pieces of the Mother Carmel picture and realizing that it is broken. And so she's screaming and she's thinking to herself, "Mom, where did you go? Mother, why isn't anyone listening to me, Mother?" That kind of stuff. And so one of the things that we kind of didn't get last week that was in the manga version is that the cliffhanger introduced us to Elbaf. That Big Mom's story takes us there.
Right.
And we learned that for the first time in this episode.
It's still spelled, well, it doesn't help the joke when they spell it that way.
I mean, I guess there's some, like Steven was saying he didn't think that was deliberate, so it doesn't really matter how you spell it.
Okay.
But I don't know. It does seem like a pretty good word. Elbaf, fable backwards.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But so Big Mom's childhood story, it takes us back 63 years ago. We are meeting little Charlotte Linlin's parents. They're just like normal-sized humans. They're stepping off of some boat onto an island. And behind them is Charlotte Linlin herself. The title card is making sure to tell us that she is in fact a human, despite how big she is. She's not a giant.
How much she seems to weigh, even for how large she is, she seems to weigh much more. Just the way she crashes onto the ground like that.
Right.
Also, it's interesting that Linlin's mother actually looks the most like Lola and Chiffon, like just because of maybe the hairdo. I don't know.
I hadn't thought about that. Someone pointed out that I don't remember who, but someone pointed out that this Big Mom's mom, Linlin's mom, is actually voiced by Yuriko Yamaguchi.
Oh, and Robin's voice, yeah.
Surprised we haven't heard more of stuff like that, because that usually happens when there's.
I wonder if it's just
who
who happened to be in the studio that day.
Right.
It's like 3 lines.
Linlin is 5 years old. Where we're meeting her here, she's still huge. She's much bigger than her parents. They're kind of pretending to be nice. They're like, Linlin, can you be a good girl and wait here? Your dad has work in a nearby island, so just wait here. You can eat all the candy that we put in your bags. And Linlin is more than happy to oblige.
Bag weighs as much as she does.
Yeah,
seems that way. I like how she scares the walrus.
Yeah.
It's very cute.
So when her parents are back on their ship and they're sailing off, we realize that they are abandoning her. She's being deported because she caused destruction in wherever their homeland is, and they're not really able to take care of her. So they're dropping her off here and hoping that somebody named the Holy Mother will take care of her.
I mean, I guess it was their choice to abandon her, but I guess they wanted to go back home because there was no going home with her, you know?
Right.
And it's sad, but you're scared of Linlin this whole episode. She's terrifying, even as a 5-year-old, because she can't be reasoned with, and she's just you cringe watching her, just having this 5-year-old intelligence and also being the strongest being in the universe.
Yeah. So yeah, we see her kind of sitting on the beach and waiting, and night comes and snow falls, and we've got this giant fish getting eaten by a giant walrus. So the story pauses here to wind us back a little further, saying, telling us the story of who this Carmel person is. We meet her as Sister Carmel when she's a much younger woman.
Yes, we learned about the giant pirates first of all 100 years ago, as we know from the Dory and Broggie story. But
right, they kind of recap the Dory and Broggie story. They tell us that the narrator tells us that some of their crewmates kind of got caught by the Navy and were about to be executed until this Sister Carmel arrived, and heaven is asking for reconciliation.
And then it starts to rain.
Them. And it starts to rain. There's lightning. Big show. There's things that I didn't really appreciate before, but since Fishman Island has been on my mind a lot lately, there are a lot of parallels. Mother Carmel or Sister Carmel at this time, she's making this argument saying, hey, if we kill these pirates, then the giants are going to hate humans and they're going to start a war with us, and that's bad. So this is not just a forgive these people, but let's think about how race relations work in this world.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because that was a common thing I found when I was learning all about Roman history the last couple of years, was that a lot of the successful emperors would generally pardon people if they surrendered. That was the idea. Mm-hmm. If you captured them and you can show mercy, and then that'll firm up your power more than actually executing people most of the time. Sometimes you have to. When you're an emperor, sometimes you still have to kill people.
Yeah, so the story continues. She eventually became Mother Carmel. We jump forward in time. She's aging. she's an old woman now. She created this orphanage called the House of Lambs, where people where children of all races and histories can sort of grow up together. And 37 years later, they are meeting Charlotte Linlin, who is the next of these like abandoned children. They're very quick to explain to her, oh, if you're here, then it's because your parents abandoned you and they're not coming back.
She's very accepting of that, though.
Yeah, exactly. The narrator tells us that amongst these children, there is a prince who got exiled from his country in the aftermath of a coup, and a child who was almost enslaved because of poverty. Troubled children who couldn't be controlled by their parents, like Linlin, like some other kids that they're kind of panning over here. But Linlin is obviously like the biggest of these children, but she fits right at home in this village of giants, where like the children who are about her age are also about her size, and this island.
Actually, that's apparently not quite true. It might be the equivalent age, but apparently Haru.
Oh, right.
Is 18 in this scene.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Relative. So he's the size of a 5-year-old, but he's 18 years old. It's hard to explain how giants develop and what their intelligence level is at like age 18 compared to whatever, despite the size of their body. But it's interesting.
So yeah, Linlin fits right in. This is like the perfect place for her to be.
Except for the part where she starts pulling people's arms off and killing bears.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, that brings us to the bear and the wolf scene where this bear and wolf are fighting. And it looks like a really big bear compared to the wolf. But Linlin shows up. She's like, no, stop it. She's like grabbing them by the necks and she's like shaking them around.
Love that animation of her like doing an atomic butt drop on them.
Yeah. So she puts them in a cage and some time passes and Mother Carmel is arriving to see Linlin crying over this dead bear. We learn that in the cage, the bear ate the wolf, and then trying to get the bear to play nice, Linlin hit it only once, and killed the bear.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that like the atomic butt drop I was talking about just then didn't actually kill the bear or the wolf.
Right.
Like this happened the next day.
Well,
that's a tough bear.
I mean, this is that the butt drop is a little anime fillery.
Okay.
Because in the manga, it's just like they really emphasize that like one strike. It took her only one strike to kill this bear.
That's a good sign of filler, actually.
And Mother Carmel is shocked by this. She's like, "Oh shit, that's not what I was ready for." But she quickly kind of puts on her motherly act again, and she says, "Oh, I get it. You just wanted them to be friends. What a good person you are, Linlin," and that cheers her up.
Yeah, it's so. It's this whole thing of, as a child, you learn lessons. You're supposed to learn good from evil and bad from, wrong from right.
Hard to do that here.
And exactly, because she's so powerful, and then she doesn't end up, because we know where this story ends. Right. She doesn't end up learning any lessons.
Exactly.
And that just makes it sort of like kind of sad to watch, because you feel sorry for her a little bit, but she's clearly a born monster.
Right. And appropriately, we get a little montage of rumors spreading about Linlin, the damage that Linlin has been causing and like hurting people and even hurting other kid giants who are supposedly around about as tough as her.
I thought that was a full-grown giant who was talking.
Probably too. I mean,
that she heard who broke, like she tried to kill a mosquito on him. She broke like 4 bones.
Yeah. We get a sequence of her playing quote unquote with a long-armed kid, and she's like, the kid's like screaming in pain. She's like, "Oh, he has one too many joints. I'll just make him normal like everyone else by pulling one of them off." And Linlin's like, not Linlin, but Carmel. Carmel's like, "No, no." And then she's doing the same thing. The fishman is
supposed to have hands like that. The fishman, he has webbed hands. That's how it works.
Yeah, the fish kid. She's trying to rip the webbing off.
I feel so sorry for anyone who has to be around her.
Yeah.
Like, they're subject to death.
Yeah, and we see Carmel being like, "Oh, guys, just Linlin, she means well. Let's forgive her." And like the narrator's like, "Carmel pardoned everything," and like the narration starts to feel a little judgmental of Carmel, all things considered.
I mean, I guess it's also like, what else can she do?
Right.
Like, yeah, she's not powerful. Although...
Yeah, I mean, it's not like if you were to scold Linlin, if you were to like try to actually teach her a lesson. Like, how well would that go?
Right. I mean, there's one thing she could do, but that, we don't find out. We don't see a hint of that until the next episode preview.
So we have a scene where Oimo and Kashi, the giants that we met way back in Ennis Lobby, they're hanging out around here. They're talking about Dory and Brogy, so the story can catch us back up with what's going on with them.
It's actually interesting the way they time this out perfectly. So in 3 years later, and then they're talking about 10 years. Like in 10 years, we'll go find the bosses. So this is 50 years ago when they set out, and then they were almost immediately captured and sent to Ennis Lobby because we know that they were there for 50 years.
Oh, I'm not keeping track of the years right now. So
no, because in the story they advanced the story 3 years until the the festival time.
I don't think that's true.
It isn't? Okay, well,
because I know Linlin's 5 when we meet her, and next episode she has her 6th birthday.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, never mind then.
Linlin is learning about I think it's Girth is this young girl, this giant girl.
Yeah.
She's explaining to Linlin that giants, we fast for 12 days before the winter solstice festival, which means that for 12 days we do not eat food.
Yeah, that's not good.
And Linlin doesn't like the sound of this, but their conversation is interrupted by little 18-year-old Hyriden getting knocked around. I guess he's being trained by an adult giant.
Right, because the captains are going to come back and go out rampaging again.
We meet Yorl and Jarl, the giant chiefs. I believe Yorl is voiced by Master Roshi.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, no. Jarl is voiced by Master Roshi, and Yorl is voiced by the old Kai, as well as the minister.
Oh, the one from the Boo Saga?
Yeah, as well as the minister of the left from Fishman Island.
There's a market for old men voices on One Piece.
Yeah, I don't think I ever truly appreciated how great these guys' designs are.
Yeah, you get a much better sense of their beards, I think.
Yeah. I think it's Jarl's beard is my favorite. So before this fasting begins, they get to feast on something called semla, and Big Mom is a big fan of this semla, and they kind of explain what this pastry is. And Big Mom, Linlin, she eats a lot of it. And during this, we also hear about the recent birth of Prince Loki, who Lola was set to be married, which is a little weird when you think about it, that Lola was set to be married a prince who was 5 years younger than her mom.
Yeah, well, that's sometimes that's what happens with royalty.
Although again, you get that relatively speaking, their ages are very different.
Right. Oh, that's true. And also it's Rode and Goldberg are the other two children who were born. Yeah.
Who they go on to be relevant.
Yeah, and so does Gerd. I mean, she was on a cover page a few weeks back.
Yeah. But yeah, Gerd, Roldo, or Rode. There's a lot of different spellings of this person's name I've seen. And Goldberg. They're relevant. They're worth remembering.
Yeah.
So winter comes. The kids are kind of huddled together in this cabin. They're kind of sitting by the fire. Mother Carmel is saying, the more, they're all very hungry, but Carmel's like, the more you suffer, the more you appreciate the sun. And that's another, I've decided that that's a Fishman Island connection where the sort of discussions of race are often referred to as living together under the sun.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, the Giants are, they're not necessarily nearly as oppressed as the Fishmen are, but
obviously
they're certainly not sort of accepted in a lot of places.
Yeah, it's definitely, the race relations are bad enough that killing some giant pirates would create some...
Yeah, cause a war.
Yeah, would cause a war. So Linlin's doing her best to sort of tough it through this fasting period. Days go by, but all she can think about is that sweet, sweet semla. And on one of these days, we see her clutching her hands, and her hands beef up a lot. They look like muscly dude hands for a second.
She's about to go into one of her hunger pangs.
Yep. On fasting day 7 is when the bad news happens. Big Mom is destroying the village. The village is on fire. Little Linlin is out there. Girth is coming to Carmel Carmel, Linlin's doing something bad. And Yeah, Linlin's doing something real bad. She set this whole village on fire. You've got giants. You got these giant adult men being like, "No, she's done some terrible." Like, clearly, even these adult giants who are like supposedly crazy powerful, they're scared of her. And Yoral.
Well, they're not scared of her. They're not doing anything. I'm not sure if they're dead.
Like,
they're just not.
Well, you've got like a guy who's like grabbing his kid and
Yeah,
trying to get away. And Yoral, one of the chiefs, shows up and he's like, "Okay, this is it. Sorry, Carmel. She may look like a child, but she's a god of disaster." And he's like lifting his sword up. He's throwing it down, and we see Big Mom, who has not missed a beat. She's still like smiling, like hungrily looking for the semla. She's like, "Semla," and she like looks up, and her eyes are like scary and red. And that's the to be continued. General thoughts on this episode, Ed?
It was pretty well done, both on the sort of. I mean, obviously, I think pacing was a little slow, but it was very sort of slow for. It just makes it more like horrifying. Like you're so afraid of Linlin throughout this entire episode, which I think I've expressed already. But artistically, well, some of the animation looked really good, like the bear and the wolf, and the like how uncomfortable it was when she was pulling at the other children, and just the fire in One Piece usually looks really good. So end of the episode was A+.
Yeah, I didn't think it felt that slow, mostly because there's like a lot more content going on. Like there's a lot more plotting and like story to cover than usual, because we're entering a flashback and there's usually a lot more like packed with information and whatchamacallit, exposition.
Right.
I thought the actual the execution of the episode, like it didn't quite scratch any itches for me. Like the pacing, like it was. I thought it felt kind of brisk, but also kind of flavorless. And I just feel like that this flashback, out of all the flashbacks, I would say, has the most room to really, really play with and like do something interesting with the direction. And I don't think I quite got there.
I guess. I mean, but on the other hand, I appreciate that it's sort of alienating because I don't like Linlin. I don't want to like her or feel bad for her at all. So I guess making these episodes more artistically appealing, I think. I don't know. I don't know if that's a choice I would make.
By more artistically appealing, I mean like I want them to lean further into like the nihilism and like the
horror
and the kind of the irony of like this is a very colorful episode about like little kids and all that, and like the horrible things that they're actually doing, or
maybe they didn't want to give it away. Maybe they'll do it more next week.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping is the case. But overall, it's pretty good. I mean, I think that this flashback in general is one of the more interesting ones in the entire series. So, it gives me a lot to chew on in general, just as a story. That should do it. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, that's it. Pretty good episode, though.
All right, let's move on to the next segment.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Piece Together segment. What's your call, you trash mongers? Will you die, or will you answer these questions? Choose your own fate.
Zach, that's mean as hell.
No,
look, we're already on board. You don't need to inspire us.
Look,
we're here.
Okay. But the thing is, I feel like I need to inspire you to answer the following email questions. First one. Oh, by the way, actually, before we even get into this, I put up a poll a little while ago. I think it's been up for 4 or 5 hours. Who is your favorite new revolutionary? And I know we all have strong opinions about this already.
Yes.
So I thought I would say what the current results are. There's still tons of time left in this poll as of
it's a 1 week poll, right?
It's a 1 day poll. So if you're listening to this, you better get to it quick. So in last place, incorrectly, Morley at 9%.
Wow.
I'm actually surprised he's not in third place.
In third place is Lindbergh at 11%. Maybe they thought we were talking about the baby. It has the third time that joke has been made. Second time by me. I apologize. In second place, Karasu with 36%, so a big jump there. And at 44%, the figure of liberty, Bello Betty.
Got my vote. She inspires me.
Yeah,
we know that, Ed. You've mentioned that several times.
So I think when it comes to the average One Piece fan, the the hierarchy goes for popular characters go like this, exactly like this: hot lady, edgy character, cute character, and then disgusting ugly character.
Which is actually, that's why it's so cool. They're so archetypal of each type of One Piece character.
Yeah.
There are
They're
4
missing,
types, and this is each of them.
They're missing hot dude.
Yeah, well, I guess
You don't know,
that's
Sabo.
probably
That's what
crossing.
Sabo's there for.
And
Right.
Sabo,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Sabo.
Actually, I was thinking the Morley kind of looks like I was watching the Titanic episode of Futurama because it's on Talking Futurama this week,
Yeah.
and he looks like the guy who dips his fingers into the bisque.
So if I could add a 5th option and I added Sabo to this poll, you would see that the pretty boy would have won hands down.
Probably,
I
yeah.
mean, not
I
only
think
because we
everyone was
know
thinking
him, but
main character's brother, after all.
yeah. Anyway, let's do some emails since you guys are all pumped up, right? First, we have a lot of emails.
Oh, Zach, you want to pump? You're up.
Okay,
Oh, boy.
you just did an old SNL reference for no reason. First one comes from Ryan. Hey, One Piece Podcast, what's going on? With the debut of Pinkbeard, who must not be, is
Peachbeard,
Peachbeard. No, he wrote Pinkbeard, so I'm guessing
Well,
that's,
yeah,
I'm
I-
guessing
I-
that's from somewhere else. I hope there are other subordinates under Blackboard. So maybe...
My son is also named Blackboard.
Sorry, Ryan. Who have other beard names. I'm sorry, I love the idea of a pirate named Blackboard. With a chalk
He's a teacher.
fruit.
He's just a really skinny, attractive version of Blackbeard.
And he gets chalk everywhere, and it's just really annoying. Anyway, that way we could have the Power Rangers squad, but with beards. Go Beard Rangers.
I don't know why. It's just a funny email.
This was a great email, both accidentally and on purpose.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's going to be like Pokemon, and they run out of colors, so they just have to like come up with new concepts.
I mean, we've kind of been doing that.
Moon.
I want a denim beard.
Moonbeard.
Oh, what
I
was
kind
it?
of like the idea that Blackbeard just doesn't even know who this guy is, and
Yeah.
he just is either semi-delusional
Hold
or
on.
is just passing himself off.
I was thinking of there's something just occurred to me. How would Betty or whoever know exactly that Blackbeard doesn't care about his subordinates? Like,
I
I mean,
think-
they lost Baltigo, but what happened to Burgess? You know?
I think they
Hmm.
probably just know Blackbeard's reputation well enough.
Maybe,
yeah.
but
Yeah, and I don't think he does probably care. I mean, if we know he's the anti-Luffy, so that it fits the character, we would assume.
I think she can recognize a groupie when she sees one.
I like Blackwatch Plaidbeard, especially since Harvey Birdman is coming back, which I could talk about for the rest of the podcast, but I'm going to step back. Yeah. Ed, you and me. When that show comes back, Harvey Birdman podcast every week.
14-foot high golden Buddha.
That's going to be our featured guest each week. This one comes from Michael. I have just one question today. With Luffy going to beat an emperor in Wano, do you think that Oda will finally show us Luffy with his awakened devil fruit? This is just for Alex. I think that this is the perfect time to do so. P.S. With last week's trivia, wasn't Blackbeard the one with the lowest bounty for a warlord 0 instead of Buggy with 15 million? That actually, I would say, is true. So, Sam...
No.
We have to take back one of your 1,000 points that you got last week, or whoever got that.
Hey, Zero. No bounty is not a low bounty.
Well, it really depends on your concept of 0.
I mean, you're all born with 0 bounties. We all start there.
we all start with everyone here on this podcast is 0. Anyway,
Yeah.
Awakened Devil Fruit. We've talked about this before, but do you guys have thoughts on that?
Bacon devil fruit. Whatever.
Cool, Alex. I want to hear your Awakened Devil Fruit opinions.
On who was this?
Luffy, the main character of the series.
If he were to have an awakened devil fruit power
In Wano, yeah.
Do you think he
in
will?
Wano, I don't know. I don't.
Do you hope he will?
Well, we've gotten to the story where that would be a pretty big deal, and they've been foreshadowing. They've been foreshadowing that for a while with the addition of.
Sorry, would it be Gear 5 Bounce House?
Oh man, where he just makes everything around him a bounce house.
Yeah, he just becomes a giant bounce house, and
That's awesome.
it doesn't really do anything to the enemy, but they like they get mollified. They're like, oh, this is pretty fun. I don't know why I was so mad to begin with.
You just keep falling down because you've seen what adults look like in a bounce house. It's not pretty.
Oh yeah, there'll be some vomit in there. It's not going to be nice.
I want to know if bounce houses actually exist in Japan.
Yeah, someone look that up.
Yeah, tweet at us. One Piece Podcast.
Yeah,
at.
no, it's at one. Yeah. Next one comes from Jeff. For the trivia game name, how about Piece It Together or Missing Pieces? Didn't we do Missing Pieces for something in the past? I don't know. We change it every week. It's a different thing every week. Wow. Okay, so this is a Mother's Day question from Connor, and so obviously this won't be depressing since this is One Piece. Hey, One Piece Podcast crew, love the show and the people on it. Keep up the good work. Yesterday was Mother's Day, so I figured I'd ask you who your favorite One Piece mothers are, and then I realized there's a asterisk here. All of them are dead. So here's my question for you. What are your favorite One Piece mother deaths? He has a top 10.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
but
God.
Do you have mother deaths? Should I read them, or do you guys?
I mean,
wanna
I'm
name
curious
yours?
who he's going to include. So I would like to hear.
I'm gonna go
Also-
backward. Yeah.
Saying all the mothers are dead is not necessarily true. Like
Which
the
mothers
Don-
are alive? That's
I would say-
Don,
Yeah,
Big
Don's one of
Mom.
my favorite
Don's
Correa.
great.
mom character.
Correa is a mom character. That's true.
yeah,
Big Mom.
the biggest of them all.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Any others?
Luffy's mother actually is alive. He has said that in the past.
Yeah, but I still think he was mentioning. I feel like he was pointing at Don as that person at the time. I don't know.
Makino's a mom now.
That's true, Makino. Let's see how long she lasts.
Oh God. Clock's ticking.
Miss Monday.
You've doomed her.
Ms. Monday's a mom?
That's right. From Whiskey Peak.
Oh yeah, she did become a mom.
And that's right. I forgot about that.
Okay.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah. Any other living moms before we get to the dead ones?
Um,
Oh man, it's
Well,
slim pickings.
let's go
You
through
just
these. Let's go through these
said
top
Mika's
10.
mom, right?
Chiffon.
Hey,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
That's
she's
true.
a great mom.
And she's a really good mom. Yeah. Good
And now let's
parents.
talk about the dead ones.
Now the dead moms, the top 10 dead moms. I wish we had a morning DJ radio show with sound effects, because this is where we'd be putting those in. 10. Russian was put into a vegetative state after injured in a landslide, had to deal with Senor Pink dressing up as a baby while in a coma. Passed away at some point since. Number 9. Caramel, adopted mother to many children. She is assumed killed. It's Carmel, right? She is assumed killed by
eaten.
Big Mom while assumed eaten. Embarrassing, he wrote. Is this really the name of Vivi's mother, Titi? Is that right?
Sounds right.
Yeah, like Nefertiti.
Nefertiti. Oh, it was, yeah. Okay.
Nefertari.
That sounds really bad. Died off camera with no reason given. Banchina. Do any of you know who Banchina is?
Bankina is
Bankina.
Usopp's mom.
There you go. Thank you, Stephen. Usopp's mom, if you're wondering. Points for anyone who got that right away. So points, Stephen.
Thank you.
She got sick. Not too impressive. Number 6, Vinsmoke Sora. She took a drug that ceased her terminal illness so that Sanji might be able to live a normal life. That caused her terminal. I read that wrong. Otherwise, she'd be alive. Princess Scarlet died on the lam from the Don Quixote pirates. She was trying to save Rebecca and lost her life. That one is sad. That was me saying that last part there. Otohime assassinated in front of her children by Hody Jones for trying to bring peace and unity in the One Piece world. That'll show her. These are all terrible. Here's one. Porcas de Rouge. She had the willpower to hold a pregnancy for 20 months to save her child. I can't imagine what it would take.
I hate it so much.
Number 2, Belmere, second only to the number 1, which we'll get to. Her sacrifice along with Arlong in front of Nami and Nojiko is legendary. And our number 1 mother death.
Yes.
Nico Olvia. This scene tears me up every time. Robin got to have a mom for a few moments before she was ripped away from her forever. Yeah, that 1 and 2 are close. And the 4, I would not put Rouge anywhere close to that high. But 1, 2, and 4, I think, are solid picks for top dead moms. Anyway, thank you.
I still pick Belmare.
That was not depressing. Okay, let's give this one a shot. It's a little bit long. This one comes from Scarlett, who said, last week brought us the long-awaited return of Kobe with a K now. Yeah, Stephen, I meant to ask, is Kobe with a K or a C? Where was that from?
It's always been a K in Fizz's version. And personally, I mean, just aesthetically speaking, I prefer it with a C, but he also did write the sale with the Koby, in the manga last chapter. So that was a very convenient, confluence there. So.
Yep. I agree with you, but we don't get to decide names. Oda gets to decide names, and sometimes Viz gets to decide names. Anyway, and often Steven gets to decide names.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he was wondering the podcast thoughts on how he may play out around Alvida. Kobe stated his desire to arrest her, but she's now has government protection under Buggy. Couple this with the fact that they both look completely different. It's possible that Kobe is unaware of who she is and vice versa. If he quietly enraged by her status, knowing he can't do anything, or does he wonder who Buggy's random companion is at Warlord meetings? Do the Warlords attend the Reverie, by the way? This is me talking here, Zach.
We haven't been shown them, as preparing to attend, so I would assume not.
He also mentions Alvida maybe flirting with Kobe at some point.
Although, he might have them, he might say like, oh, and also the Warlords are here because if we're presuming that this reverie is also going to include Fujitora making his big push to get rid of the Warlords, that would be a nice dramatic, kind of face-to-face thing there.
And we also know that the Warlords are generally pretty lax on that rule, if that's a rule that they have become.
Yeah. All right, next one comes from Bobby, who said, you were wrong. Good way to start an email. Zeus is the parrot of the Straw Hat crew. Thanks for sharing my love of One Piece. Finding you guys a few years ago really made reading it that much better. Was all alone since 2003. Have a great day. There you go. He solved it for us.
He wants a crackle. Probably wants a
cracker. Crackle. I get it. Zeus wants a crackle.
Yeah. You got it.
I almost ruined it. I did ruin it. Let's be fair here. Anyway, Reddit, Steven?
Yeah, let's start off with Bortolomeo. Actually, it's a pretty good one. First it was Pound, now Morley. I guess big ugly dudes can just sprout out of the ground in One Piece. Hey, maybe that's where Weevil comes from. That aside, I also have an actual theory. I'm calling it now. Morley is the prisoner with digging powers mentioned by Ivankov, who dug out of level 5.5 in Impel Down. I completely forgot about this, by the way. And since, as far as the guards know, Shiki was the only prisoner who managed to escape, Morley must have gone completely unnoticed. If I had to guess, I bet he reached level 6, and from there he kept digging a tunnel that went under the ocean floor, closing the tunnel behind him so the guards wouldn't see it. Maybe at the time he was just a small-time criminal whose disappearance was brushed off as death. And when he became known as a Revolutionary Army commander years later, nobody linked him to a random prisoner who was presumed dead years ago. So
I like that.
Yeah. I had completely forgotten about that random little throwaway thing, but seems...
It makes sense. Like,
it
gives more credence to him having a power rather than maybe having a weapon with a power, as someone had suggested.
Robrecht OP also mentions being French. Isn't Bello Betty inspired by Marianne from the famous French painting of Lady Liberty guiding the people? Yeah. And so we definitely talked about that.
And Marianne is sort of like the French sort of national symbol, kind of like the Uncle Sam of France, I think.
I wanted to mention kind of off topic-ish, but we have there's a Statue of Liberty in New York in the United States. A statue of No, I'm just gonna go on.
I've never heard of it.
Okay,
What are you talking about?
I'm gonna.
I mean, but
a statue of justice at the Supreme Court and a statue of freedom on top of the Capitol building in the United States. And the most clothed one, of course, is freedom. You want to keep going?
Well, I was going to say that the Liberty Enlightening the World, the statue that we know as the Statue of Liberty, was directly inspired by that painting I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
We talked about that already.
Yeah. ATLA for Life has a question. This is a timely question. I'm not sure how many people present will be able to qualify to answer this. If the Marines were Brooklyn Nine-Nine characters, which Marine would be which Brooklyn Nine-Nine member, which obviously got recently canceled and then picked up again?
I watched a couple of seasons of this a couple of years ago. I guess I'll have to go back and watch more of it now since it's been rescued. But
yeah, me and Jill were joking about it on Twitter. So
no, but I think one of them could be that Kobe is actually kind of like, I forget his name, but whoever Joe Latrulio plays on that show. His sheepish dude. Actually, Garp is kind of like Andy Samberg's character. If from what I remember of it, sort of being sort of brash.
They look similar. I could see that.
And kind of wacky.
Yeah, I believe Jill said that Luffy in this situation would be the car thief. God, who's the actor's name? Who was from The Office as well? Oh God,
which guy?
I can't remember his name. The one who works in the warehouse in The Office.
Robinson
or Craig Robinson's
Craig
character?
Robinson.
Yeah, because he plays like a recurring car thief who's like friends with Andy Samberg in the show and is constantly having hijinks. Someone in the comments points out or suggests that Scully and Hitchcock are Django and Full Body, being the goofuses. Roth 8 has a suggestion. Here's another suggestion for this week's trivia name. Are you ready for this, Zach?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're ready for this. Okay, it is Betty no morely than me if you want one piece of this donut.
Wow.
All right.
Since the arc switched, we should probably now change the prizes as well. Since the donut was katakuri themed, but
all right. So what's
a reverie
miniature American flags for all?
We'll figure that out. We'll think of something edible, hopefully.
Yeah.
What's next?
Randard Not a Fox has a question about translation, a more high level question about translation with a link to some article about professional translators. Unfortunately, that did not work for me, so I cannot read this. But the question was, as an experienced professional translator, what is your view of a good translation? And I guess I'm almost tempted to say that's kind of a loaded question. I mean, you could get so many different answers for that, but I guess I would say that it's kind of about capturing the spirit of the original and trying to recreate the experience of reading it in its original language, and you could interpret that in so many different ways, but I guess that's kind of what I try to do when I imagine that I am providing a good translation. So there's my quick and dirty answer for that. Juft says, given that Karasu was muttering all chapter, and with that line at the very end about the amplifier, I think the Plague Doctor mask may actually be a loudspeaker, and Karasu just has a very weak voice. I love how Oda always seems to find a way to make even very serious or edgy characters have clever gags.
He's a low talker. He talks really low. He's a crow man.
It could be that.
A crow man.
I don't want to be a crow man. Here, go ahead.
It could be. I could see it being either a very quiet voice that needs an amplifier, or that the thing just muffles, completely muffles his voice.
Yeah,
so
that's what I thought.
yeah,
Like he wears this ostentatious, ridiculous thing, and then because of that has to have an amplifier.
Yeah. I do like. They're very different characters, very different situations, but I do like that he basically, gave away the gag in this chapter rather than kind of playing it out like with Katakuri, where we always knew that other shoe was going to drop, and it just took, 15 chapters or whatever it was before we saw his goofy side.
And it also makes it more likely that this is the whole gag as opposed to him having a weird face besides, because we just did that joke, and I don't think he's going to do it again so soon. But
he could be related. He could be like half Big News Morgan's, esque. He could be like half bird.
He's got a head like Lao G, actually.
But the thing is, when you reveal a gag too early, it makes your popularity ranking go way down. So Karasu, I mean, I think if Katakuri's gag was revealed in the chapter we introduced him, he would not be as popular as he ended up being.
The mystery.
Yeah. But Karasu also, I mean, as we found, as we immediately determined from the 5 archetypes, he's not a hot guy, so he probably never would have gotten that height.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My OC Yonji has another question for me. Writing this before Weekly Shonen Jump drops and crossing my fingers, trying to predict your localization choices. Since you set the precedent in Zoe, will you translate Karasu as crow? I was also curious about Betty's name. Is there some Japanese pun combined with liberty? If so, would you consider a change to better convey that in English, such as Belle Betty, Lib Betty, Bertha Betty, Lily Betty, etc.? I'm of the opinion that the more localization, the better. So I love the work you put in every week. Thanks for all you do. So, not to just completely relitigate every, decision, but a lot of the, permutations that I run through are very dependent on the order and the type of information that is revealed by Oda. And so usually when I would say, just off the top of my head, but if there was going to be a new character that we'd never seen before, and like in this chapter, you got the big, Oda, the secondary Oda box or whatever we call it, where, you see the name written out in an English font.
Did we ever come up with a name for that? I feel like we should have.
I don't think so. Yeah. But for us to, I would say, just kind of gut feeling, in order to immediately just like right on first appearance, turn around and change it to something else. I would guess it would have to be something that was like unacceptable. Like it would have to be something that was like really vulgar, like I mentioned last week, like where it's like, okay, we just literally can't have this the way it is. And that's that's pretty unlikely. But usually when he does that, like it would have to be a really good reason for me to immediately say, no, let's not do that. Let's do something else instead. A lot of these secondary things are things where like he drops the name and, I have to kind of guess at what the role of that character or what they're going to be like. And, when we get there with a full reveal, it may be something, where I agree. I see, oh, okay, now I see what he was going for. Or, I may think that we're fine the way we are, but it's already kind of got a level of precedence in English already that has to be, it's like, replays in football, you need to have clear evidence, to overturn the call on the field, sort of thing. And I try not to mess around with it too much once it's already out there. But
a lot of people say too much review ruins the game, especially in football and now a little bit in baseball too.
Yeah. So, so I guess like Karasu as Crow, I'm not. Yeah. I guess the difference for me between that and Ino Arashi and Neko Mamushi is that for one, it's shorter, it's a little easier to handle. It's also not a combination of like it's literally just Crow, and I could foresee it getting a little awkward when we potentially are going to have lines like, oh, Crow turned into crows or something like that, where it's okay, that's a little too on the nose. So that that would be something that stuck out to me. And as far as the permutations on Bello Betty, I think we kind of covered it in the chapter itself, talking about her Liberty styling. That like sometimes it's okay to be like, oh, this is kind of vaguely reminiscent of something, but it is also clearly its own kind of unique stylistic playing around with the syllables or something like that. And so yeah, I'm totally fine with that as it stands. Maxter Dexter has a petition to call the Crow Guy's fruit the murder fruit.
A murder of crows, yes.
Yeah, that's really clever.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that it, like, whatever it turns out to be in Japanese is close enough that I can justify using that, because that'd be a pretty good one.
I mean, he his gag aside, he does look like he has the intent in that panel, so that would be a cool little pun.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if it's a special kind of Zoan fruit. I know we have mythical Zoan, so I wonder if there's like a weird myth about a murder of crows or something like that.
like a rat king or something, where they have all the tails tied together. Yeah,
it's actually a common trait associated with vampires, the ability to turn into bats and such, like had to turn into many of a small animal or wolves or something. Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of Moria's power.
Yeah. It's interesting. A lot of possibilities there. White Bear Beppo says, since there were 5 seats open at the table, that would imply that it's for Sabo and the 4 new officers. It would be disappointing if these 4 people are the only relevant revolutionary fighters that Oda will show us. Perhaps each cardinal officer will have a distinct lower-ranking officer below them, kind of like how Inazuma is to Ivankov. What do you think? Also, in chapter 810, during Doflamingo's grand speech, there's an unknown silhouette in the Revolutionary Army that seems to resemble Morley. I have to go look that up. But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys did you have a hunch that like this was not all we were going to see, or did you feel like this was him introducing kind of the grunts of the army?
I mean, obviously he's left himself all the room he wants to add new ones and add underlings to the underlings, and so
I think he'll add them as needed. Basically, he'll add them as needed.
You see, there are 5 empty chairs at least at Ivankov's table. Although Sabo, to be fair, is laying on the ground dreaming of Luffy, so that might be the 5th. There could be a lot more.
I do appreciate the look on Koala's face in this chapter of a girl whose boyfriend is completely not thinking about her at this current time. She got a problem with that.
Also, would there be a commander of the Grand Line or the New World? Like, shouldn't there be?
Yeah,
a dragon.
That's a good point.
Pretty much.
Well, I mean, Dragon seems to be a delegator, which I don't think is a bad idea. Especially
if it wanders around.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The world's a big place. You need people to kind of do your thing. What's next?
Mm-hmm. I like how Koala's armband has a K on it, just so you're sure.
Wait, who is that? Oh, yes. What were we gonna say?
Yeah, it's funny because I could have said, the K could also be for Kakumegun or Revolutionary Army, but then he did do the RA styling on the flag, so maybe it is just straight up K for Koala.
Maybe it's a K inside of an O for Koala. I don't know. Because it is kind of a circle.
Okay. If a circle is a square. Go ahead.
Pirate 100D says, what with all the mentions of Vegapunk in the news lately, do you think we will finally catch a glimpse of him at the Reverie? I'm hopeful, but I have to admit it's unlikely given that his true identity is Rick Sanchez, and we all know he has an extreme dislike for bureaucracy.
Yeah, and he has 70 episodes of Rick and Morty to appear in, so he's going to be kind of busy.
What was the line from the pilot about they're a bureaucrat, they don't have feelings or something like that?
Yeah.
Souls, maybe?
They're all robots.
They're all robots. They're bureaucrats.
Yeah.
That's what I meant, Morty. I mean, I really hope Greg put his weight into getting him to watch Rick and Morty / getting him to base Vegapunk on Rick and Morty. If he even looks slightly like like Rick, I think we should all take credit here. That would be unbelievable.
That's nice, but I'm like, I want to see what Oda, I don't want to see, I don't want Oda to be like, oh, that's a good idea, I should use that one. I want to see what his idea was for.
Yeah, I'll disagree with you there.
Okay, fine.
I mean, this week was a perfect example of just Oda characters.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
True. Yeah. Scar Red Tiger has another suggested title for the end segment, Zach's Donut Time.
A lot of suggestions this week.
What if it was Zach's Donut, what was it? Merienda. This chapter makes some choices in OP games amusing in retrospect. Treasure Cruise has the murder of crows as a usable ship. Burning Blood used text for the Revolutionary Army flag. Do you know of any other funny choices like these used before now to fill in gaps in One Piece lore that had not been established yet? I guess
I'm not much of a game player, so
yeah.
Has anyone played One Piece games that had something like this?
I mentioned the Bella Betty Kizuna boost thing.
That's true.
I'm trying to think of older games, like the first Grand Battle for PlayStation. They did something for so in the original Grand Battle, they had wanted posters for the character select screen. But Vivi was one of the secret characters, and I remember having a blue poster that wasn't wanted. It was just like, oh, government or something like that. It was it was slightly different because this she's not a pirate
from her FBI file or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I've read actually one thing I think this isn't lore, but one thing that would probably pop into a lot of people's minds was I guess it was Unlimited Adventure, right? That was the first one of those
on
series that had several characters that had never been dubbed into English, and some of the people were wondering for years afterward, like, is this guy going to continue playing Frankie or Brooke or whoever? That was that was a thing back then.
Surprisingly, the answer was usually yes.
Just a couple they changed.
Yeah, not many. What's
but
next?
it does remind me of another anecdote, which is that I think it was Grand Battle, so that was the one that came out right around the time of Alabasta, right, Alex?
Grand Battle 2.
Grand Battle 2. Because I think, like, anecdotally, one of I forget it. I think it was one of Luffy's attacks that he uses on Crocodile. Like, it literally, it came out in the chapter like 2 weeks before they were going to wrap up production on that game, and they literally like implemented it. Like, they saw that chapter and were like, we have to put this in this game, and programmed it in like right before the deadline.
Gum Gum Storm, maybe?
I think that might have been it.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I remember when Grand Battle 3 came out, there was something similar, or rather, I don't know the goings on behind it, but the game, if I remember correctly, was released not soon after Luffy deals the final blow on Eneru in the manga, and Luffy's final his level 3 was the bell, like the golden peony into the bell to ring it, and Eneru's was I'm sorry, Eneru's was the Raigo in the in the Maxim, and you can tell that they hadn't gotten to that point in the anime yet, because Eneru's hair is colored white in the game instead of blonde.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, it's funny, little things like that. I think they run a tighter ship nowadays, but you can't cover all your bases.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny when you look at old One Piece merchandise, and there are Nami figurines that have blonde hair, because she hadn't. Yeah, they hadn't shown a color picture of it yet, or I guess they would have if it was in the.
I think she had blonde hair.
She was in the first color spread, isn't she?
Yeah.
She had
I don't
blonde
know.
hair in the Romance Dawn. I think one of the Romance Dawn issues, or maybe it was in Wanted. I think they had like a Nami prototype in blonde hair, so that might be where that came from.
Still.
Maybe it was just crappy merchandise.
Yep.
Hey, you know what?
Yep.
Let's just call it there.
Yeah. Liquid Gaimon says, given that Peachbeard changed his name, I seriously doubt he's a legitimate member of the Beard family. In fact, I'm starting to question if that beard's even real. Does Blackbeard give all of his captains false facial hair? If not, then is a beard all you need to raise Blackbeard's banner? Would he accept a sharp goatee or perhaps a scraggly neck beard? I have a cousin named Mr. Mutton Chops. Can he join? I don't know how to end this comment.
Points for Mr. Mutton Chops.
Well, any
Yeah.
facial hair is a beard in Japanese, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I am
He gave-
so upset we've never gotten a One Piece character with a Chester A. Arthur styled facial hair.
Mutton Chops, yeah, Mutton Chops.
No, but isn't his the mutton chops that go around into the mustache? That's Chester A. Arthur, right?
No, I thought it was the they go into a mustache, but not the chin doesn't have a beard,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's everything
Yeah.
except the chin, and it's an amazing. Just double. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the one. Where look him up. He was a terrible president with amazing facial hair.
That's not true. He was responsible for civil service reforms.
He was mostly a shitty president.
That's really all he's known for. But
He
when
didn't
his
do very
predecessor,
much. I
his
had to read a
predecessor
whole
was
book
killed.
on him.
his predecessor was killed because there weren't any civil service reforms, and the guy wanted a patronage job, so he killed him.
Look, we're going to talk about this on our Chester A. Arthur Patreon exclusive podcast later. Please continue, Steven.
All right. Last one on Reddit is Stevo Hump 85. I was recently
Hi, Steve.
rereading. Recently rereading the Punk Hazard arc. In chapter 672, Kinemon said that with his Foxfire style, there is no fire that he cannot cut. Made me wonder, could he actually cut Sabo? Just a fun thought. Real question now, with the Wano arc coming up, what are some of the other sword styles you hope to see? And besides Zoro and Brook, what style would each of the Straw Hats have? Well, that's a whole lot of questions there.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, can't any elemental, style with the
And
sword?
also with Zoro's power of Haki now, with those color of armaments, he would be able to cut him anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And Brook has freezing power. Kinemon has fire.
Maybe an electric blade, that'd be cool.
I feel like we saw something like
An
that.
electrified sword.
Yeah. Oh, actually, no, that was wasn't that Thunder something Magai from?
Yeah, that's what
Right.
it was. You're right, from Marineford. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, any sword that lightsabers. I guess. I'm sorry, Kizaru had that. So you see, there's we've already seen a lot of
Yeah,
these.
it's hard.
Laser swords.
I mean, we did see that already. Yeah.
Vegapunk laser sword, that'd be awesome.
I'm sure we're gonna see some cool swords in Wano. I mean, if there's one thing we know, Oda has not just been preparing forever for Wano, but he is psyched to start it, and yet we still have more to come before that. So,
Yep.
that's it for Reddit?
Yes, that's it.
So Ed, it is time to.
Peace the tweeter.
Yeah, what do we got?
First one's a bit of a multi-part question from Tom Yorkshire.
This
but
is
I like that
Twitter.
name.
They should all be single part questions.
But I like the username Tom Yorkshire, so we're going with it.
Sounds like the Radiohead guy.
Maybe it is the Radiohead guy.
That's the joke. So realizing that the Whole Cake Island arc took only 4 days, do you think the other part of the crew has already arrived in Wano? Will Jinbei get there first?
I thought it took more than 4 days. I thought for them to get to Whole Cake took like a week.
Well, I mean, basically, the meat of the arc took what
A couple
day
days.
and a half?
Yeah. The meat of it was like 2.5 days. But
Well,
I
it
thought
would
there was a
have taken
week
them
before.
just for the full moon to work. It would have taken them a month to get to.
I thought it took them 2 weeks to get there, and then maybe like 2.5 days.
That actually
before
makes
to-
this even more likely that they would have arrived.
I think they're
near
there.
Wano after that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if anything, we're gonna get a flashback of how they arrived there.
Which we kind of got. Well, Trasfosa was weird. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to ask all these questions, but one more from Tom Yorkshire. He says, how many celestial dragons has Dragon punched in the face in order to get the highest bounty in the world?
You think do we think that's how he got it? Besides just being the head of the revolutionaries? I mean, he's probably punched a few.
I think you're taking this question far too seriously. Let me ask another serious question. What Hamilton musical character is each revolutionary commander?
I mean,
They're all Lin Miranda.
Good answer.
It's the only correct character I know.
Anyway.
That's not a character. That is his name.
He's a
Well, I mean,
character.
there's like 3 guys. Oh.
Aaron Burr, I assume.
No, he's not part of the 4. It's John Lawrence.
Marquis Lafayette later on.
And the guy with the best name I've ever heard in my entire life, Hercules Mulligan.
That's right.
Is that his real? Is that the real name?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Hercules
that's his real
Mulligan's a real person. Yeah, he was a kind of a spy.
Wow, that is
With a name like that?
amazing name. I am naming my kid that.
He was
Yeah,
a
you
tail-
knock him down and he gets the fuck back up again.
Yeah.
That's
That's gonna be the first name. It's gonna be a hyphenated first name, Hercules
Exactly.
Mulligan. Go ahead.
Next one comes from Nura G123. He says, if you could try a dish or food from the One Piece world, what would it be? They want Sanji's dish from the G8 filler arc.
I don't know what that was.
was like a-
Yeah. Well,
There's a picture of it on the tweet.
What? I need to find.
I don't know, the
it.
takoyaki.
Yeah.
Hachi's takoyaki would be pretty good.
I mean, I've had plenty of takoyaki. I think I would be most interested in tasting the bluefin tuna.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, most of the stuff on Whole Cake and Totoland, I mean, in general.
Oh man, the cake, the wedding cake, the fucking wedding
The,
cake.
the wedding cake. I mean, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather go for like savory food over sweets. So even then, you know, or maybe it's just the mood I'm in at this moment. But
The water meat from Water 7 looked
I was
good.
thinking that, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
how could that be good though? That sounds so weird.
It's juicy.
Yeah.
It's-
It's not juicy, it's watery.
it's waterlogged.
It's not the same thing. Meat shouldn't taste watery.
Mizu meat.
Yeah.
Right.
What's next?
Okay, next one comes from Super Dubes, who says, if by the end of the Reverie and or Wano we don't see a cat mink pushing a face off a table for no reason or fitting into a box they shouldn't be able to fit into, I'm going to riot.
Yeah.
our resident cat expert finally speaks out.
Mm.
All right, Cracker
I
Jack.
feel like Cat Viper is the most likely to do that because he's been shown actually doing cat hijinks. So
Does Oda have a pet? Do we like know if he has a pet?
I don't know.
Because I feel like he has a cat.
Yeah, he seems like a cat person.
I would.
I mean, yeah, statistically speaking, you're much
In
more likely to
Japan,
have a
too.
cat in Japan. Yeah.
I mean, a dog is a hard. Although he is rich, as we mentioned earlier, so
Mhm.
he could get a dog,
He's got the space for a dog.
but he doesn't have the time for a dog,
That's, yeah.
as I know.
The next one comes from Cracker Jaku, who says, all of the supernovas who tried to go against the Emperors failed. What are the odds that some of them may shift their ambitions toward taking out the newest Emperor and or kidnapping Robin? I mean, do people know, like, do the other supernovas know about Robin's powers? Like, who actually knows about that? I mean, Blackbeard would know because Aokichi would probably tell them, but, I mean, I don't think any of the supernovas do.
Yeah, that's a good question. But yeah, no, I think that's. I think that this is a good rationale for having those other rival characters
Mhm.
step up their intentions to knock down Luffy.
I mean, I just dispute the kidnapping Robin part of it because I'm not sure he would do that again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, next one comes from One Piece Haiku, who says, y'all reckon the devastation of Baltigo was part of Dragon's plan. Do the world government think the revolutionaries are down for the count? Hence more of a surprise attack at the Reverie. Yeah, it's interesting. It was the headlines that Baltigo was destroyed, right?
Yeah. I don't. Describing that as part of Dragon's plan seems a bit conspiratorial to me, but rather than just like that's what happened and hey, this could be a way that they take advantage of that bad situation by sneaking up. But
and it's also whether or not the government knows the real story or the story that was printed in the papers. Like, what does Morgans tell them exactly? Because it was the revolutionaries and the Blackbeards who were fighting. So would the government even know what had happened? Like, for real, what happened?
Right. They only visited the site afterward or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Next one comes from the Sea Freak, who says, do you guys believe that the final road poneglyph could be kept in Margaritaville, or whatever the hell the capital is called?
Which Margaritaville? There's so many.
Marijoa.
There's wasting away again in Marijoa.
This is actually a serious question as well, but
looking for my lost shaker of Sabo.
Here it is. So like Sabo could snag a copy and then give it to Luffy, because I guess we assume that the referee is being held there.
Sure.
And follow up with Zeus on the Sunny, Big Mom could track the Straw Hats to Raftel, and Blackbeard possibly keeping close tabs on the Revolutionary Army. The Raftel arc could be a showdown of the Straw Hats, the Revolutionaries, the Marines, Blackbeard, and Big Mom.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's gonna be everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone left.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna call it Margaritaville from now on. So good.
Sis16 points out that back in chapter 827, we got a preview of this chapter's meeting, but also pointing out same table and vase as in the chapter 827.
Making preparations, it says even.
There you go.
Good eye. Yeah, good job.
Mm-hmm. You Who Dude says, Least Brownbeard can take solace in knowing that he is no longer the worst beard in the family. That title now belongs to Peachbeard.
I think Brownbeard already had surpassed Blackbeard in just like morality and such at this point in the series. Not in strength or anything like
they
that.
They could say like chapter appearances. I think at this point, probably. I think Brownbeard probably has more. He's the number one beard in terms of appearances. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like getting caps on the national team for soccer or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, next one comes from 91 Ryan, and I say this with no malice, but for Zach and Ed, how do you guys determine what the title for each episode is going to be? I realize some episodes get the title based on comments or questions, and others come from your comments. Just wondering on how that process works.
Easy answer.
This is where our Patreon comes in handy.
Yeah, so you could listen. I'm way behind. I really need to do this week. You could listen to our discussions after each show where we try and figure out. Sometimes there's a standout winner, pretty obviously. We go with the funniest one and or the one that fits with an image that we could possibly do. Often democratically, sometimes...
Not always.
Not always, but sometimes.
Contentiously.
Yeah, it's often contentious. This week's is going to be contentious because there's a lot of good ones I have. At some point, I have index cards for every single episode from like the 300s on, I think. With like a list of every title we could potentially have chosen from, and maybe I'll give those away as Patreon stuff.
It's like since you moved to your last apartment, really, when you started.
I've been doing them for so probably since around 2013. I've been writing them down.
Right.
And I have most of them. There's obviously some I don't have, like when I don't host or something, but there's a lot. I have a lot. So yeah, maybe that's for a contest or for Patreon or something. We could give those out too in the future.
All right, next one comes. Well, as the last question actually comes from QuipQuest. It says, "I was thinking about the McDonald's joke you made last episode, and being from New England, we over here refer to it as the Will of Mickey D's." I didn't know they called it that.
Yeah,
I've heard Mickey D's. I didn't know it was a regional.
Oh yeah, I didn't know it was a New England thing.
Wait, what do you guys call it in the Midwest?
Just McDonald's.
Yeah.
What'd you call it?
You've never heard of Mickey D's?
Yeah, I have, but I didn't know it was a New England thing.
I didn't know it was a New England. He might just be under the impression it's a New England thing.
I've heard the Golden Arches more than I've heard, Mickey D's.
I've heard both.
Man, that makes it sound so much more decadent.
I think that's the... Who do you think is the one who probably started calling it that?
Ronald McDonald?
Viral marketing.
Okay, so that'll do it. We have a very special quiz at the end of this show. Big thanks to Matt. We're gonna... Don't say it like that. So why don't we round off the show?
All
Why
right.
don't we?
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 519 for the week of May 14th, 2018. If you want to hear how we name this episode, please subscribe to us on patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. There were a lot of good choices this week. I want to give a big thanks to Matt Cohen. You can find him at Cameltoad. Please check out his podcast if you haven't. Bunny Ears at bunnyears.com or Bunny Ears Pod on Twitter. His co-host is Macaulay Culkin. You can find him at Incredible Culk, C-U-L-K, on Twitter. They're both very cool guys. It's a fun show. You should check that out. Let's go around the horn here. Alex, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at dude! All one word. You can find me every month on Toho Yaro, the Japanese movie club podcast that I host with Joey Weiser and Scott Dryman. The latest episode that you can see on our feed is Daimajin, and the episode for next month will be Kikujiro. So,
Nice.
yeah, watch that movie if you haven't already. It's great. And also keep an eye out for the episode of Conversation Genesis Evangelion that me and Ed are on. Go to Mr. Matt J on Twitter. He has a Patreon. That's the only way you can listen to it.
When does
And
that,
think
when does
it'll
that
be-
post? Do you
It'll
know?
post either next Monday or the Monday after, because he has mentioned having another interview coming up in the pipeline. But
Yep.
this week on Conversation Genesis Evangelion, it was the two episodes before the ones that Alex and I did. But the One Piece fan from Twitter, Grant from the Blade Licking Thieves podcast, was on this week. I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm excited.
Sam, where could people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Lucky Chainsaw, and they can find me on the One Piece podcast every week doing the anime recaps. And they can find me on AnimeNewsNetwork.com doing the daily streaming reviews for One Piece, My Hero Academia, and Black Clover.
And Sam, I was yelled at profusely by fans for forgetting you, and correctly so.
Really?
Yeah. No, I mean by some fans. So I apologize again. It happened once with me and Steven, but I cut it out that time, and I left it in for some reason. I left my idiocy in last week, so there we go. It's out there. Steven. Alex.
Oh, yes, Stephen. No, sorry. Go, Stephen.
Oh, Steven, go.
You can follow me on Twitter at Translatosaurus.
Alex, did you have more to say? You could say more.
Yes, I had another plug that I completely forgot about. The episode of Saturday Morning Cartoons, that's morning as in I'm mourning a dead relative or a mom.
Or mom, yeah, I was gonna say.
If you're in One Piece. Saturday Morning Cartoons, I talked about Heathcliff, so go to check out their podcast. It's super funny. This was the first time I watched Heathcliff in maybe 25 years, so I had a rude awakening.
And last but not least, Ed, where can the good people contact us?
Well, here's Zach_Logan on Twitter. I am Edward E. One Piece. Podcast can be found at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. One Piece Podcast, that's all one word. That's our Skype name. Send us some piece together on Reddit, reddit.com/r/OnePiecePodcast. You can subscribe on SoundCloud, subscribe on Google Play, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, or call us on our phone number. Zach?
That phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Anytime.
For your questions, comments, theories, and how much you enjoy bounce houses. Great episode today, you guys. I had a lot of fun. So we talked a little bit about the Bunny Ears podcast earlier, and Matt Cohen has given me permission to use his game for our final game here at the end. So for those who haven't listened to the Bunny Ears podcast, this is how the game that they do works. It's tentatively unnamed. It's kind of similar to what we do. You take a chess clock, and each person, there's going to be two people who are going to go back and forth and just in a very general category, name as many of the things in that category as they can. And whoever finishes with the most time remaining is going to win. So we're gonna do this. It's gonna be in 3 rounds. The winner of each round, so 2 main rounds, and the winner of each round are gonna face each other. We're only gonna do 2-minute rounds. They're gonna be extremely as general as I could make these categories. So it sounds easy, but it'll get hard. So our first round, Sam and Ed. You guys ready?
Okay.
So this is how it's gonna work. That's gonna be our order. Sam's gonna go first. He's gonna name one of the things. Then Ed, your category are marine. So just name any marines at all. Ready to go, Sam?
So they are they alternating or are they going
they're
one at a time?
They're alternating. So I have
how does the
so it's
time...
a chess clock. So I'm gonna each time it's gonna switch over. Have you guys seen a chess clock before? This might be it.
You mean like a digital clock? That
Yeah,
goes on
I
the
mean I
side
have a
of
digital one. Yeah. So each side will go. So it'll be set like let's say Sam says
I'll answer it and my clock will pause or what?
Yes,
yeah, exactly. And
which starts my clock.
Which starts his clock, and whoever runs the clock out first loses, essentially. So you ready to go? Sam, you're going to start first.
Sure.
So you're okay. Ready, set, Sam.
Sengoku.
Fujitora.
Aokiji.
Akainu.
Kizaru.
John Giant.
Kobe.
Dalmatian.
Kong.
Helmeppo.
Ryokyoku, is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
That's there you go.
Good.
Approximation.
Ed?
Very good.
Momonga.
Shu. The rust guy.
Garp.
Tsuru.
Full body.
Jaguar D Sol.
Django.
See where this
Smoker.
gets hard?
No.
Smoker, go ahead.
Tashigi.
Let's see. Onigumo.
I had one in mind. Crap. Morgan. Accent Morgan.
Doberman.
Sam.
Crap. Strawberry.
I already said it, didn't I?
You said very good.
Okay. Yamakaji.
What's this is gonna be obscure. Is what was his name? Was it like Mushikaku or something?
Steven, you're
Mashikaku.
Mashikaku.
I'll take it. Ed?
T-Bone.
Oh.
Don't look it up.
I'm not looking at it.
I'm pretty sure I heard typing. Sam?
That wasn't me.
Time is running.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
It was really close. It is not now.
Yeah.
Anyone, Sam?
Zed.
Okay.
Hina.
Sam?
Corazon. Or
Yeah.
Yeah, Rocinante.
Yeah, technically.
Oh. Man. It's damn. God.
See, it gets hard.
Nezumi.
We're almost done here. Don't worry.
Oh, what's that one guy's name?
Oh.
Shoot.
5 seconds.
Puddin?
Ed?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's right. Man, it's getting harder. Dang.
Got 25.
Shit. Oh,
You could do it. You got plenty of time.
Okay.
You've got some time.
Oh, Vegapunk.
And time. Ed's got it. That made a loud noise. I think. Okay. So Ed, you were the winner of our first round.
All right.
Nice.
The next one's going to be Steven and Alex. Sorry, I just need to reset the clock.
Okay. This should be fun.
So did you say are there special rules for duplicates?
Um,
I already said that.
Yeah,
They don't count. You just have to get one.
Yeah,
that
you just
isn't
have to get the same
Okay,
kind of
so
thing
you
that we
just keep
usually do.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would
Okay.
the time should continue to run. I'm not going to really be
Right.
paying attention to duplicates, so it's kind of up to you guys. 2 minutes again on each side. This time, pirates. Any pirate. Ready?
Oh my god.
This
I-
is
gonna be
what?
the-
Come on.
Steve.
This is
It's
not
been going
even-
forever.
No, but there's 2 minutes. You guys each have 2 minutes. But you got, I
Okay.
gave you guys Marines. I mean, this is just about as okay. So this is Steven and then Alex.
Second and
So Steven,
Okay.
ready?
Mhm.
Go.
Peach beard,
Brown beard,
black beard,
white beard,
rock star.
blue jam,
Ooh. Buggy,
kabaji,
Moji,
Alvida,
Klahador, or
Mm.
Sekuro.
yeah, not bad. Don Krieg,
Formerly Django.
oh, very good.
No, he's a
He's
Marine.
a Marine.
Go ahead, Alex.
Bucci,
Oh, Sam.
yeah. Pearl Sun,
Don Krieg.
Said already.
Nope.
said it already.
Oh, you did.
Yep.
Not Pearl. Arlong.
Gin,
I don't know. No, whatever. Man. Wow, I'm just wasting my time here.
So the game works.
Oh, yeah. Jinbei.
Foxy,
Mm.
Let's see. Big Pan.
Hamburg,
Let's see.
God, guys, come on.
No, I keep thinking of other characters who aren't pirates. God. Why am I doing this? That works on multiple levels. Jesus Christ.
30 seconds.
Man, I'm still gonna lose this. Okay, other pirates. Kid.
Gold Roger,
Hawkins.
Law,
Capone Bedge.
Drake,
Apu. Scratchman Apu.
Yarouge,
Killer.
Luffy's mom, Jewelry Bonnie.
Wrong.
5 seconds.
Oh man. I don't know why. I just
Time.
completely blanked on all the characters. Like I was thinking of like Vivi and Cobra and
Vivi is a pirate. She's a member of the Straw Hats.
Okay. So our final round to
I
determine.
just name like all the villain characters.
None of you
Yeah.
named the Straw Hats,
Nope. That's right.
which was really bugging me. Just saying. Any of them. None of them were named. Okay. Ed and Alex.
might as well have just asked like words. Just say words.
So Steven, you're our very special guest. Choose A or B. That'll choose their category.
Why can't you just flip
Okay,
a coin? I
why don't-
want to call it tails.
Why don't I
I'm gonna call
give?
it tails.
Why don't I just give you the categories and you choose which one they do? Okay, Steven?
Me?
Yeah,
Okay,
you can
all right.
choose what
That sounds
they're
better.
going to do. Yeah. So they either have to name voice actors, it could be English or Japanese, or henchmen, and by that I mean any underlings of any sort.
Wait, like group of underlings? Like
It could be anything related to underlings, either the groups of underlings or the characters. Like every member of the Charlotte family, for example, would count.
Voice actor
I feel
sounds
like
fun.
Basically, anyone who's not a captain or like an admiral.
Yeah, I agree with Sam. I think voice actors sounds more
Okay.
fun.
And I
Although
think both of
that
these
may
guys
be
could
more
do
of
it.
an expertise issue.
Yeah,
so.
but both of these, I think both of the two of them are the best at this. Well, Steve also would have been good at this. All right, ready? Ed, you're gonna go first. Even though I think, you know what, Alex should get the advantage here because he won more.
Fine.
Ready, Alex?
Whatever. Yeah.
Go.
Daisuke Gori,
Mayumi Tanaka,
Kazuya Nakai,
Masako Nozawa,
Kazuki Yao,
Kappe Yamaguchi,
Yuriko Yamaguchi,
Hiroaki Hirata,
Ikue Otani,
Mami Koyama, voice of Big Mom.
Cho.
That's right. The late, I believe, Chikao Otsuka, voice of Gold Roger.
Yep. Also the late Takeshi Aono,
Akio Otsuka.
Joji Yanami.
One of my favorite names to say, Ryutsaburo Otomo.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Ryusei Nakao.
Yeah. Ikue Otani.
I said that one.
Colleen Klinkenbeard.
Chris Sabat.
Eric Vale.
Barry Yandel.
Sunny Street.
Ian Sinclair.
John Swayze.
Keith Silverstone. Keith Silverstein.
Yeah. Brina Palencia.
David Moo.
Get out. All right. Stephanie Young.
Emmeline McFarland.
Who?
She did Chopper's voice in the Singapore English dub.
This is your time, Ed.
Mike McFarland.
Nice. Terry Doty.
Joel McDonald.
J. Michael Tatum.
Alex Kazanis.
I wasn't on One Piece. I didn't go with you guys.
Oh, crap, that's right. Steve Yurko.
Zach Logan.
Joseph Medina.
Ed Lang.
Jose Argumedo.
Let's see.
Oh yeah.
Akemi Okumura.
30 seconds.
Fuck,
I said that.
Ed.
Oh,
sorry.
Shit. Toru Furia.
Daniel Bao.
Dan Green.
Mark DeRison.
Sean Schemmel.
Yeah.
Yep.
30 seconds.
Yeah. It's getting harder. J. Michael Tatum.
Said
it.
Oh, damn it. Crap. Jason Liebrecht.
Chris Kaysen.
15.
You
guys are like...
Dang it. Jerry Jewell.
Nice.
10.
Scott McNeil.
5.
Damn it.
That's it.
Damn.
Alex is our winner.
Ooh, Jesus, that was
Congratulations.
tough.
I should have said Kosuke Kitajima. The fucking swimmer guy. Damn it.
That was a,
Yeah.
it was a
Did either of
7-second
you
split.
say-
That was really good.
Wow, yeah, that was intense. Did either of you say Vic Maniner?
No.
That's right. He was a filler character. That's
Sabo.
right.
Sabo.
You
Yeah,
Sabo.
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 Or Shigeru Chiba, or fucking Wapol, Foxy, Bin Shimura.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Like,
That was
like
incredibly impressive how long you guys went without saying a single English voice actor. Like and like well done, guys. That was really good. Big thanks to Matt for allowing us to use that format for today's episode. I hope you listened and enjoyed that. Yeah, hopefully next time we have Matt, we could have him on to do one of those as well. So congratulations, Alex, this week for winning.
So,
big victory.
so what do I win?
You're gonna win a baker's dozen of donuts this week.
Whoa.
Man.
Yeah.
Can it be
Well,
like
I
a
thought he
crepe?
was going to get a margarita now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're in the
Oh, yes.
reverie.
A margarita.
Sorry, margaritas now.
I want that frozen
Instead of
margarita.
that, we're getting frozen margarita. Oh, you get to choose between frozen or ice or salted.
I like mine on the rocks, personally.
You like I like frozen. I've been judged for it, but I like frozen margaritas. Okay. So that's gonna do it for the One Piece podcast this week. Next week, chapter 905. Miles Thomas from Crunchyroll, I believe, will be joining us as well next week. So please look forward to that episode. Really great episode today, you guys. Remember, support us on Patreon if you haven't. And until next week, my name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
My name is Alex.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, and follow me on Twitter. I almost have as many followers as chapters of One Piece.
Also, whoever is Big News Borgans, tell us. Have you guys seen this fucking thing?
Yeah.
It's super funny. Like, is it one of you?
No,
No, it's not any of us.
Like,
Who,
this
like,
is
at least
super,
a fan. But
super fucking funny. Definitely a fan.
Oh, yeah.
100% a fan.
You guys, Oda hates rich people, and he writes about how he hates them from his mansion in Tokyo.
Yeah.